Chapter 1464. It really is the good fortune indestructible axe. Pan Qian immediately saw the giant axe floating in the void. The indestructible axe chuckled. As expected of a descendant of the Pan clan. Not only is your willpower commendable, you've also advanced 2 levels in such a short period of time. I reckon you've had some sort of fortuitous encounter along the way. Kid, what's your name? Pan clan's unfilial junior, Pan Qian, greets senior indestructible axe. Hearing the indestructible axe's words, Pan Qian hurriedly bowed and replied. At this moment, no matter how many experts were in the surroundings, his attention was focused on the indestructible axe. Not bad, not bad. Pan Qian, since you're here, you'll have a share of the good fortune? The indestructible axe said with satisfaction. In fact, Yemo guessed right, the immortal axe was getting impatient. If Pan Qian still didn't come, it was hard to say whether he could continue waiting. Fortunately, Ning Qing did not leave. If Ning Qing left, then the chaotic inner world would no longer have anything to do with him. For the indestructible axe, it was only natural for Ning Qing to give him the fragment of the indestructible axe. Because he had also saved Ning Qing once, both of them did not owe each other anything. He would never deliberately wait for Ning Qing here for such a trivial matter. He had waited for Pan Qian for so many years, not because he admired Pan Qian, but because the indestructible axe was once a magic treasure of the Pan clan. Big brother Ning. Shen Mengyan saw Ning Qing standing on the side and called out in shock. She did not understand how Ning Qing could appear in such a place. Didn't elder brother Pan Qian say that if not for the trace left behind by the indestructible axe, they would not have been able to enter? Ning Qing's strength should not be as high as elder brother Pan Qian, so how could he come in? Not to mention that he was not as strong as elder brother Pan Qian, Ning Qing's strength might not even be as good as his own. After all, she and big brother Pan Qian had advanced again because of the opportunity in the void hundreds of years ago. She had reached the late-stage Dao birth while big brother Pan Qian had reached the mid-stage Dao integration. She, Shen Mengyan, could cultivate to the middle-stage Dao birth in just tens of thousands of years. It was all because of the opportunities in the void. Without these opportunities, let alone the Dao birth, it would have been difficult for her to step into the eternal realm. No matter how good big brother Ning Qing's opportunities were, it couldn't be better than hers, right? Oh, brother Ning Qing, you are also here? Pan Qian spoke out in surprise. It was not until this time that he saw Ning Qing. Not waiting for Ning Qing to speak, Pan Qian continued, Brother Ning, your strength has made a lot of progress. Could it be that you have already stepped into the 3rd step? Pan Qian stared at Ning Qing with wide eyes, almost in disbelief. His Pan clan bloodline could be said to be one of the most suitable bloodlines for cultivation. After so many years, he was only at the mid-stage Dao integration realm. When he had separated from Ning Qing's strength was not as good as his, so how could he have stepped into the 3rd step so quickly? Ning Qing smiled and walked up before speaking. Pan Qian, you've spent quite a bit of time in the void this time. I've been to the Great Change Realm a few times, but there was no news of you. I didn't expect you to be lost. You've been to the Great Change Realm? Pan Qian asked in surprise. Ning Qing nodded, let's talk about this later. After that, Ning Qing said to Shen Mengyan, Senior Apprentice Sister Mengyan, long time no see. Congratulations on stepping into the Dao birth realm and condensing your Dao charm. Hearing Ning Qing's words, Shen Mengyan understood that Ning Qing's strength was indeed much stronger than hers. Otherwise, he wouldn't have seen through her cultivation at a glance. Moreover, Ning Qing looked like an ordinary person to her. Junior apprentice brother Ning, elder brother Pan Qian and I obtained some opportunities in the void. Alas, it's a long story. Shen Mengyan spoke with a sigh. Ning Qing suddenly felt a little strange. He addressed Yu Qing as junior apprentice sister and Shen Mengyan as senior apprentice sister. Moreover, Yu Qing's previous life was Shen Mengyan's daughter. This was simply. However, Ning Qing quickly put these thoughts aside. Although Shen Mengyan and Yu Qing's previous life had a connection, such things were difficult to explain in words. She glanced at Shen Mengyan. She felt that Shen Mengyan and Yu Qing looked a bit alike, but she didn't talk nonsense. First, After Pan Qian came here, the chaotic inner realm was about to open. She didn't want to talk nonsense. Second, this place wasn't the chaotic inner realm. If she angered Ning Cheng might even attack her immediately. Seeing Ning Cheng and Pan Qian, who was waiting for indestructible axe, Tao Lord Primal Chaos couldn't accuse Ning Cheng of wasting time. Therefore, he said, Tao Friend Indestructible Axe, now that the descendants of Pan Clan are here, should we open the chaotic inner realm? What's the hurry? Indestructible Axe angrily asked. The chaotic inner realm required Indestructible Axe to open. Therefore, although Tao Lord Primal Chaos felt angry, he couldn't do anything about it. Pan Qian, I brought you here because I wanted to see if you still have the same persistence as Pan Clan. Second, I'm leaving. I want to give you some opportunities when the good fortune inner realm opens. Indestructible Axe spoke as if no one else was around. Pan Qian was slightly startled, but he immediately understood Indestructible Axe's meaning. He felt very sad in his heart. After all, Indestructible Axe used to be Pan Clan's weapon. But now, his Pan Clan couldn't have Indestructible Axe anymore. Senior, whatever you say, Pan Qian will obey. Pan Qian bowed. No matter what, Indestructible Axe was Pan Clan's weapon. It was equivalent to being the senior of all Pan Clan clansmen. I plan to peel off a few creation axe runes from my body for you. You can find an extreme grade material to forge a giant axe. Saying this, Indestructible Axe suddenly flew to Ning Cheng's side. It's best if it's the same as your brother Ning Cheng's blue spear. And Tao Friend Yi Mo's purple saber. It's a material that can upgrade magic artifacts. Indestructible Axe didn't finish speaking and muttered to himself, No, there are too few materials that can upgrade it. I'm afraid you won't be able to find it. Ning Cheng took the initiative to speak. Tao Friend Indestructible Axe, if you're willing to peel off a few creation axe runes, I have a material that can help Pan Qian forge a giant axe. As he spoke, Ning Cheng raised his hand and grabbed that piece of heaven creation iron essence. You. Qin Mutian's eyes almost spat out fire when he saw Ning Cheng grab the heaven creation iron essence. Wasn't this iron essence something from his treasure trove? Why did it appear on Ning Cheng? Heaven creation iron essence? At this moment, almost everyone stared at the ordinary piece of iron in Ning Cheng's hand in shock. The people here all knew what was good and what was bad. Good stuff. This is the best thing to forge Pan Qian's axe. Indestructible Axe said in surprise. Although he had called Pan Qian over, Pan Qian's strength was too low. Even if he entered the chaotic inner realm, he would at best only reach the third step. It was impossible to snatch the primordial chaos Tao runes. Ning Cheng, this heaven creation iron essence belongs to me, right? You're quite a character, yet you sneaked into my treasure trove and took away my iron essence. It doesn't match your identity. Qin Mutian resisted the anger in his heart and spoke in a gloomy tone. Ning Cheng understood Qin Mutian's thoughts. Don't look at Qin Mutian's generosity in leaving the treasure in the radiant treasury. It was because he knew that even if the people from the light and dark cosmos obtained this mother iron, it would only be a wedding dress for him. He wished that the people of the light and dark universe were as strong as possible because he was the one who raised them. No matter how strong they would only be in the light and dark universe. He didn't expect that Ning Cheng, a person from the five-element universe, would not only enter his light treasury and take away his heaven creation iron essence, but also leave the light and dark universe. Not only that, but Ning Cheng also wanted to make this heaven creation iron essence into someone else's weapon. Oh, is this yours? Why did I hear that it belonged to the Lord of the Light and Dark Universe during the origin of the Light and Dark Universe? By the way, I also heard that the Lord of the Light and Dark Universe was harmed. The person who harmed him called himself the Light and Dark Sacred Lord. You know that I like to fight against injustice, so I built the reincarnation path in the Sacred Region River in anger and turned the Sacred Region River into the reincarnation realm. Ning Cheng said in a faint tone. When Qin Mutian heard this, he almost couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. If Ning Cheng hadn't mentioned it, he wouldn't have known about it. In other words, the light and dark universe already had its own reincarnation path and had nothing to do with him anymore. Very well, I hope you remember what you just said. Qin Mutian took a deep breath and said word by word. If he didn't kill Ning Cheng, he wouldn't be the light and dark sacred lord. When they heard that Ning Cheng built the reincarnation path and turned the sacred region river into the reincarnation realm, everyone looked at Ning Cheng differently. Even Chaos Dao Lord and Karma Dao Lord looked at Ning Cheng differently. Although they were stronger than Ning Cheng, it probably wasn't that easy to build a reincarnation realm of their own. Ning Cheng had just stepped into the third step, yet he was able to achieve this. It was simply too heaven-defying. Yemo looked at Ning Cheng and smiled. Congratulations, it's finally perfected. Ning Cheng knew what Yemo was congratulating him for. He perfected the 7 bridges and used them to build the reincarnation path, turning the sacred region river into the reincarnation realm. He knew that if he could do this, Yemo would be able to do the same after reaching the third step. Yemo had teamed up with him before and had seen his first 6 bridges. He was certain that after reaching the third step, Yemo perfected the 7 bridges god art. Then I'll congratulate Dao friend Ning. Let's go into the Chaos Inner Realm as soon as possible. Chaos Dao Lord felt even more threatened after knowing that Ning Cheng could build the reincarnation realm. The indestructible axe gave a snort. What's the hurry? Since Dao friend Ning Cheng took out the innate iron essence, then it means that he naturally wants to refine the axe. I will only start when Pan Qian's axe is finished. No matter how unhappy Qin Mutian and them were, there was nothing they could do. The indestructible axe clearly wanted Pan Qian's axe to advance in the chaotic inner realm, which was why it wanted to refine the axe first. Of course, Immortal Axe was also worried that once they entered the chaos inner realm, no one would be willing to help Pan Qian forge his axe. Ning Cheng saluted with his fists. Dao friend Immortal Axe, I can help, but I promised someone that I would give them 1 magic artifact made from the heaven creation metal source. That is only natural. Seeing that you took out the opening heaven iron source, and even helped me to refine this axe, I can also give you some of my axe charm. The indestructible axe spoke up. Chapter 1465. Everyone once again entered the chaotic corner. This place was filled with primal chaos aura, and the laws here were also chaotic. This was the best place to refine weapons. Since the indestructible axe insisted on helping Pan Qian refine the axe, everyone could only wait. After waiting for thousands of years, why would they care about this little bit of time? What a rich primal chaos aura. Shen Mengyan froze as soon as she came in. But then she understood why Ning Cheng had such high strength. If she cultivated here for tens of thousands of years, she would have already stepped into the primordial chaos realm. She didn't know that Ning Cheng hadn't cultivated here for long. Moreover, at Ning Cheng's realm, even if he cultivated here, the improvement in his strength would be limited. The indestructible axe stood not far from Ning Cheng and said to Ning Cheng, "You can refine artifacts. If you need me to strip off the axe charm, just let me know." Okay. Ning Cheng didn't stand on ceremony and directly brought out a blue flame. The flame looked like a brilliant galaxy, and it looked gorgeous. The aura coming from it was amazing. Celestial River Sacred Flame. As soon as the Celestial River Flame came out, someone immediately recognized it and exclaimed in surprise, making a fuss. The Celestial River Flame muttered in disdain. Primal Chaos Sacred Emperor and the others didn't care about it. For them, it was indeed a fuss. The Celestial River Flame didn't count as anything. There were at least 3 or 4 people with Celestial River Sacred Flames here. Before the flames confronted each other, no one would think that their flame was inferior to others. Qin Mutian didn't put the Celestial River Flame in his eyes. He had at least 3 sacred flames that weren't any weaker than Ning Cheng's flame. But when he saw Ning Cheng take out another thing, he turned furious. "Ning Cheng, do you still have any face? You even took my universe origin embryo membrane." Ning Cheng didn't bother to pay any attention to Qin Mutian and directly called out Chasing Bull. He pointed to Qin Mutian and said to Chasing Bull, "Chasing Bull, Master wants to refine artifacts. If this fellow dares to be long-winded, block him for me." Refining artifacts in the chaotic corner, he also had the help of the indestructible axe charm. Faced with such an opportunity, How could Ning Qing give up? He decided to refine at least 4 artifacts. Even if Qin Mutian was more shrewd, seeing Ning Qing use his most precious artifact to refine artifacts, he still found it unbearable. Did you also take my chaotic origin stone? Qin Mutian asked word by word. Not only had Ning Qing taken away the chaotic origin stone, but he had also used it to reach the 3rd step. However, Ning Qing simply ignored him and continued to carve out the void array for crafting artifacts. Chasing Bull, on the other hand, didn't speak well. It didn't know who Qin Mutian was and yelled, "Dead face, what's wrong with you? Can't you see my master crafting artifacts? If you shout again, your grandpa ox will seal your mouth and smear some cow dung on it." Qin Mutian's face was gloomy. If this was anywhere else, he would have smashed the stupid cow into pieces the moment it said the first word. Speechless? Can you afford to pay for any damage caused by my master's artifact forging? With your 2 or 3 pieces of dead human flesh and your buttocks, my master's fart is worth more than yours. Do you know where my master's things come from? You don't know, right? Grandpa Ox will tell you, it's the Radiant Light Treasury. Kid, have you heard of the Radiant Light Treasury? You don't know about it, right? Grandpa Ox will slowly tell you. Chasing Bull saw that its first sentence had an effect. Shut up. Ning Qing yelled. This stupid cow, why didn't you just scold Qin Mutian until he shut his mouth? What Radiant Light Treasury? The Radiant Light Treasury originally belonged to Qin Mutian. Everyone looked at Chasing Bull speechlessly. It must be very tiring to have such a pet beast, right? Yemo thought of his pet beast, Shadowless. If Shadowless met Chasing Bull, what would the result be? Would it be a group of ducks? Or, Yemo didn't dare to think about it. Chasing Bull shut up. Although Qin Mutian was furious, he didn't speak any nonsense. He knew that as long as he dared to say half a word, this stupid cow would probably continue talking for days and nights. Ning Qing had already forged the creation god spear, so he had some experience with the celestial river flame. The mother iron melted in the flame, and Ning Qing controlled the melted mother iron to roll in the void. Endless primal chaos aura poured in and seeped into the constantly changing heaven-opening mother iron. Ning Qing also sent the universe origin embryo membrane into the flame and gradually fused with the heaven-opening mother iron. Ning Qing's Dao rune hand seals engraved one after another. Soon, everyone realized that Ning Qing wasn't refining 2 weapons, but 4. Refining several magic treasures at the same time was something that everyone here could do. But fusing the heaven-opening mother iron with the universe origin embryo membrane and even fusing the indestructible axe's axe charm wasn't something ordinary people could do. The primordial chaos aura from the chaotic edges swept over and fused with the materials that were being fused. At this moment, no one felt annoyed with Ning Qing for delaying everyone's time. Everyone wanted to see what kind of treasure Ning Qing could refine in the end. Even Xianhuang Gaian felt shocked. Ning Qing's artifact crafting technique was somewhat similar to his. He was sure that Ning Qing's artifact crafting technique was derived from abstruse yellow formless. But Ning Qing's technique had clearly surpassed the artifact crafting technique derived from abstruse yellow formless. It made people feel an indescribable Dao aura. In fact, Xianhuang Gaian felt good. When Ning Qing reached the 3rd step, he directly severed Dao creation realm. At this moment, the influence of abstruse yellow formless on him had disappeared, or rather, he had severed abstruse yellow formless. Even if he still cultivated abstruse yellow formless, it was no longer the abstruse yellow formless he learned in the abstruse yellow bead, but a cultivation method condensed from his own laws. Ning Qing realized that as long as he was present, the Dao was behind. Whether it was his cultivation method or spirit art, pill concoction and artifact crafting, they all changed. Yemo also sighed. Ning Qing's Dao was similar to his Dao. After he reached the 3rd step with Dao severing, he also surpassed the original 3-birth Dao chant like Ning Qing. This was the 3rd stage that Ning Qing and Tamu spoke of. Seeing mountains as mountains, seeing water as water as water. Ning Qing was still cultivating abstruse yellow formless while Yemo was still cultivating 3-birth Dao chant. But perhaps only the person who comprehended it could understand the Dao. Time gradually passed, and in a blink of an eye, a month had passed. The chaos chi that swept over also slowly weakened. Under the astral river flame, a prototype of a giant axe gradually appeared. The axe hadn't completely condensed yet, but a violent killing intent seeped out. Everyone was secretly shocked. Once this giant axe was formed, it would probably be another top-grade treasure. After the axe rolled a few times in the flame, it floated in a corner. Just half an incense stick later, a pair of half-moon double rings and a 7-color glass belt prototype appeared at the same time. Following closely behind the crescent moon double rings and the 7-colored glazed belt was a green longsword. The 4 magic artifacts occupied the 4 corners, each occupying one side. Ning Cheng's Tao waves were engraved one by one. Under the infiltration of the astral river flame, these Tao waves kept condensing into the 4 magic artifacts. Just when everyone was attracted by Ning Cheng's grand Tao waves, Ning Cheng suddenly called out, "Tao friend Indestructible Axe, please send out 4 creation Tao waves." Indestructible Axe had been waiting for Ning Cheng to speak. When he heard Ning Cheng say that he would send out 4 creation Tao waves at once, he was dumbfounded. He thought it would be 2 at most. For at once? Did he pick up the creation Tao waves? Thinking of his promise to Ning Cheng, he could only strip off the 4 creation Tao waves and throw them towards the 4 magic artifacts. As soon as the 4 creation Tao waves fell in, Ning Cheng swept them into the 4 magic artifacts. The 4 magic artifacts let out bursts of Tao waves, and the chaos chi in the corner once again swept over. Ning Cheng's Tao wave hand seals were even faster as he sent them into the 4 magic artifacts one by one. After a few days, the clear sounds gradually subsided. The 4 magic artifacts flew out of the astral river flame and floated around Ning Cheng. Although the giant axe didn't have the imposing aura of the good fortune indestructible axe, it still exuded a primal aura. Because it hadn't been refined yet, it still exuded a primal aura. Not only the giant axe, but the 7-colored glazed belt, the half-moon twin rings, and the blue sword also exuded the same primal aura. One could imagine that as long as they settled for a period of time or were scoured by the chaotic inner world, these 4 magic artifacts would become something that everyone would want. Tao friend Ning, this is the first time I've seen such a grand Tao artifact crafting technique. Tao Lord Chaos praised sincerely with a sincere tone. Apparently, he truly praised Ning Cheng's methods. Ning Cheng cupped his fists. "Many thanks for Tao friend Chaos praise." After saying this, Ning Cheng waved his hand, and the other 3 magic artifacts fell around Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng grabbed the great axe in his hands, before sending it to Pan Qian and spoke, "Pan Qian, this axe is for you." Pan Qian grabbed the giant axe in excitement. He had seen Ning Cheng forge this axe with his own eyes. Most likely, apart from the good fortune indestructible axe, this axe was the strongest axe in the world. Brother Ning Cheng, I, Pan Qian, won't say any words of thanks. Ning Cheng patted Pan Qian. "We've all been through life and death together, so there's no need for thanks. This axe has just taken shape. After entering the chaotic inner world, you can refine it. I hope that in the future, you can take this axe and come with me to the gate of good fortune." Pan Qian bowed to the good fortune indestructible axe again. "Many thanks for Senior's selfless help. Pan Qian will never forget it." The indestructible axe said indifferently, "If the descendants of the Pan clan didn't have a giant axe, how could they have the surname Pan? You don't have to be so polite. I'll give you the axe. The rest is up to you. But this axe should also have a name. What should I call it?" Yemo smiled. "Why don't we call it Pango Axe?" The good fortune indestructible axe was overjoyed. "Not bad, this name is good. Pan Qian, from now on, this axe of yours will be called Pango Axe." Chapter 1466. After saying that, the indestructible axe suddenly swept up a monstrous axe intent. "Everyone, when I'm going to split open the chaotic inner realm, please give it your all. Taoist indestructible axe, don't worry. We will attack at the same time," Tao Lord Chaos said immediately. After Tao Lord Chaos finished speaking, the rest also took out their magic treasures. indicating that they would attack immediately. The indestructible axe was strong, but it would be difficult to rely on the power of the indestructible axe alone to open the chaotic inner realm. Only when the indestructible axe cleaved down and everyone took out their magic treasures to attack at the crack at the same time could they tear open the chaotic inner realm. Therefore, Tao Lord Chaos had no objections to the indestructible axe's request. After getting the consent of Tao Lord Chaos, the indestructible axe's blade, which had already swept up a monstrous aura, instantly transformed into tens of thousands of feet long, and the killing intent of the axe became even more substantial. This was not the end, as the axe's blade continued to extend. At this moment, all the people around could sense a powerful killing intent from it. If not for the attraction of the chaotic inner realm, some people would have even sat down to comprehend it. Boom! The axe blade, which had condensed endless killing intent, slammed down in front of everyone, where spiritual senses and vision could not penetrate. Without any nomological divine power, there was no room for reservation, and the axe just slashed down. The endless axe blade's killing intent followed this aura and poured onto the barrier of the chaotic inner realm before seeping in and disappearing without a trace. After several breaths of time, a series of cracking sounds could be heard. The cracking sounds were endless, as if ice was being blasted apart. Then the cracks slowly spread. Do it! Tao Lord Chaos took out the Chaos Bell as he spoke. Almost at the same time, everyone took out their magic treasures. Ning Cheng's creation divine spear also blasted out. Unless one's control of the divine power law was higher than the chaotic inner realm, any divine power would be illusory in the face of this void barrier. At that moment, everyone did not need any divine power to attack. What they needed was the most direct Tao rune power. More than 20 top experts took out their magic treasures at the same time and attacked with all their might. The violent Tao runes directly tore countless cracks in the space at the edge of the chaos. The people here all knew that these cracks were not what they needed, only the crack in front of the indestructible axe's blade was the place that they wanted to enter. Ka-ka! The sound of the void tearing became louder and louder, and the surging aura of primal chaos seeped out. Everyone could see a crack. The indestructible axe once again transformed into an axe blade that was hundreds of thousands of feet long, and once again smashed down. Everyone's attacks followed the bombardment of the indestructible axe at the same time. More and more cracks appeared in the void, and the crack grew even larger. The void blade radiance and collapses shot out from the other planes and fell on the bodies of the many experts that had been shaken open. At this moment, no one cared about these void blade lights that were harmless to them. Everyone's eyes and attention were focused on the same place, the crack that led to the chaotic inner world. The indestructible axe's blade slammed down for the third time. This time, before everyone's attack fell, the void that spiritual consciousness could not penetrate suddenly issued a hua-hua sound. It was as if a giant mirror had been shattered and completely collapsed. Hua-hua! The sound spread out from the inside, and a vast and majestic world appeared in front of everyone. Although everyone's spirit sense was still blurry, they could vaguely feel that vast and majestic qi. A few impatient powerhouses could no longer hold themselves back and rushed in. Those supreme experts didn't move, and neither did Ning Cheng and Yemo. At this moment, the chaotic inner world had just opened, and the baleful qi and violence that had been accumulated for billions of years instantly gushed out. At this moment, no one would have a good time going in. Plus, this chaotic inner world hadn't been completely opened yet, and it was still collapsing. Like dominoes, after the indestructible axe's third strike, the barrier of the chaotic inner world started to collapse, and then it extended out. Those experts who charged in first were hit by the endless baleful qi and that vast qi, and like cannonballs, they flew out of the corner of the chaotic inner world. Everyone knew that even if these guys could come back here, they would only be able to eat the leftovers. It's actually a complete collapse. Tao Lord Xingchen said in shock. Everyone understood what Tao Lord Stellar meant. When they blasted open this chaotic corner, the other chaotic corners would also collapse at the same time until the entire chaotic inner realm was completely revealed to everyone. At this moment, Even those who didn't participate in this attack would have a chance to enter the chaotic inner world as long as they were in the corner of the chaotic inner world. The collapse of the void didn't last long. When the majestic aura weakened, everyone rushed in crazily. Ning Cheng and Yi Mo also charged into the chaotic inner world in an instant. At this moment, it was a competition of luck and speed. When he was in the chaotic inner world, Ning Cheng only had one feeling. He seemed to be the number one person in this universe, and he was surrounded by the endless primal origin Tao waves. The primal chaos Qi could allow people to easily understand all the Tao of heaven and earth that they couldn't understand before. Then, these Tao of heaven and earth would give birth to their own law Tao waves. Everyone could imagine that if they cultivated here for tens of thousands of years, they would probably reach the fortune state. No one would really cultivate here. At the same time, it wasn't realistic. This primal chaos Tao wave Qi would soon disappear after the chaotic inner world was opened. The reason why people could feel this supreme primal Tao wave was because this place had just been opened. More importantly, this wasn't a place to cultivate. Everyone charged towards the 9 golden Tao waves in the depths of the chaotic inner world. If it wasn't for Tao Lord Karma's explanation, perhaps people wouldn't know what these 9 Tao waves were. After Tao Lord Karma said this, everyone could guess that these 9 Tao waves were the most precious things in the chaotic inner world. They were 9 primordial chaos. They weren't primordial chaos purple Qi but golden. This thought appeared in Ning Cheng and Yi Mo's mind at the same time. The 9 primordial chaos Tao waves were distributed in different corners. Ning Cheng charged towards a golden primordial chaos Tao wave with a few faint runes. At the same time, Yi Mo charged in the opposite direction to Ning Cheng. There was also a primordial chaos Tao wave there. In that instant, the chaotic inner world was where the treasures were distributed. Even those with weak cultivation level wouldn't want to see the primordial chaos Tao wave get taken by someone else. Everyone here knew Yi Mo and Ning Cheng's power. Other than a few people, most people would rather fight for other primordial chaos Tao waves than fight with Ning Cheng, Yi Mo, Qin Mutian and Chaos Tao Lord. Everyone understood this principle. Instead of fighting for the primordial Tao aura with the top powerhouses, it was better to fight for the primordial Tao aura with the weaker ones. But not everyone knew that Ning Cheng was very strong. The chaotic inner world had completely collapsed. Those who cultivated in the corners of the chaotic inner world could charge into the chaotic inner world immediately. Just as Ning Cheng rushed towards the primordial Tao charm, 4 people also rushed over. A middle-aged scholar, a fat monk, a long-haired young man and a white-haired old man. These 4 had the same goal as Ning Cheng, and that was to take the primordial chaos Tao wave before anyone else. Ning Cheng didn't know any of these 4. Even if he knew them, he wouldn't give up on the primordial chaos Tao wave. Ning Cheng's creation god spear swept out without hesitation and used traceless void tread. At the same time, the 4 who fought with Ning Cheng for the primordial chaos Tao wave also attacked. Ning Cheng didn't target anyone. His traceless void tread smashed towards the space around the primordial chaos Tao wave. Other than him, anyone who got closer to the primordial chaos Tao wave before him would face his attack directly. The middle-aged scholar's target was the young man because he was closest to the middle-aged scholar. The fat monk's staff smashed towards the white-haired old man without hesitation. He was almost neck to neck with the white-haired old man. Only Ning Cheng was alone. No one got close to him. This was because Ning Cheng and the 4 didn't come from the same corner of the chaotic inner world. Chapter 1467. The young man clearly wasn't the middle-aged scholar's opponent. Coupled with the fact that the middle-aged scholar had attacked first, the young man's protective domain immediately shattered. By the time the young man blocked the middle-aged scholar's attack, the middle-aged scholar had already thrown him a kilometer away. In this kind of battle between powerhouses, even a fraction of a second was crucial. With a distance of a kilometer, one wouldn't stand a chance. The young man also seemed to know that he had no chance. He stared at the middle-aged scholar angrily and left without hesitation. The chaotic inner realm had just opened, and everything here was a precious treasure from when the primal chaos first separated. No one would waste a single breath at this time. Contrary to how the middle-aged scholar chased the young man away, when the fat monk attacked the white-haired old man, the white-haired old man forcibly withstood the fat monk's Dao rune attack. Then, with the help of the fat monk's Dao rune attack, he risked the danger of the domain cracking and the Dao rune scattering to increase his speed. The fat monk and the middle-aged scholar had the same plan. After driving away the opponents around them, they would reach the location of the primordial chaos Dao charm before Ning Cheng. But now, because of the white-haired old man's actions, the white-haired old man's speed was the fastest among the several people rushing towards the primordial chaos Dao charm. Based on the white-haired old man's speed, he would be the first to reach the primordial chaos Dao charm. Ning Cheng had worked so hard to attract the indestructible axe and even participated in opening the chaotic inner realm. How could he let someone snatch away something that was already in his hands? Even with traceless space splitter blocking in front of him, Ning Cheng's speed rose to the extreme at this moment. He even crazily activated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, which he hadn't used in a long time. At this time, even a small increase in speed would be a huge advantage. Not to mention that the twin wings of the heavenly clouds didn't just increase Ning Cheng's speed by a little bit. The void seemed to have disappeared under Ning Cheng's feet. In just a moment, Ning Cheng overtook the white-haired old man. Almost at the same time, Ning Cheng, the white-haired old man and the middle-aged scholar attacked. Ning Cheng raised his hand and once again sent out countless Dao charm laws, turning this space into his law domain. The white-haired old man and the middle-aged scholar both attacked Ning Cheng with all their might. The middle-aged scholar's magic weapon was a copper flute, while the white-haired old man's magic weapon was extremely insidious. It was a colorless needle that was almost invisible to the naked eye and divine sense. The middle-aged scholar's copper flute wasn't too bad. Although the flute's sound could scatter Ning Cheng's nomological Dao charm, it couldn't stop Ning Cheng. As for the white-haired old man's colorless needle, if Ning Cheng had not brought out the traceless collapsing space first, Ning Cheng would have doubted that he could have avoided the old man's colorless needle, which even his spiritual consciousness could not detect. Ning Cheng's law space could only slow down Xiao Yinhe and the colorless needle a little. However, the traceless collapse also caused the layers of void to collapse, causing Xiao Yinhe to lose the effect of his attack. At the same time, the colorless needle also slowed down. At least, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could now scan it. Even the traceless spatial collapse could not tear the space here. It could only cause a slight collapse in the void. This slight collapse was more than enough for Ning Cheng. When traceless space collapse blocked the white-haired old man, Ning Cheng locked onto the primordial Dao charm. A feeling of standing alone in the clouds, looking down on all living beings from afar, suddenly welled up within him. It wasn't just vast and majestic, but also a powerful state of mind. Ning Cheng took in a deep breath. Even if he didn't understand anything, he understood that this primordial Dao charm was probably the most precious cultivation treasure in this universe. With such a treasure in hand, how could there be any difference in qualifications? Sensing a crisis, the good fortune divine spear in Ning Cheng's hand turned into countless spear patterns and shot towards the direction of the crisis. At the same time, Ning Cheng's hands shot out countless restrictions to lock onto the primordial Dao charm and pulled it into his domain. Just as Ning Cheng put away the primordial Dao charm, the Dao charm exploded with a boom, and Ning Cheng's good fortune divine spear got hit by a powerful Dao charm. A violent whirlpool appeared at the location of the primordial Dao charm, and Ning Cheng was sent flying by the backlash from the Dao charm of the good fortune divine spear. At the same time, a few cracks appeared on his protective domain. Ning Cheng secretly felt shocked. If he had taken away the primordial Dao charm a moment later, the primordial Dao charm would have been sucked away by the whirlpool. Even if he could snatch it back from the whirlpool, it wouldn't be that simple. As the various attacks calmed down, Ning Cheng was pleasantly surprised to find a large piece of stationary soil under his feet. This was something that he had spent a great deal of effort to find, but now, it had appeared right beneath his feet. The chaotic inner world really was filled with treasures. Ning Cheng decided to search for it carefully. Ning Cheng quickly raised his hand, grabbed the piece of stationary soil, and sent it into the mysterious yellow bead. Unfortunately, it wasn't the balanced soil. If it were the balanced soil, he would have gathered all 5 earths. It wasn't until this moment that Ning Cheng's gaze fell on the opposite side. There were 3 people standing in front of him, a fat monk, a middle-aged scholar, and a purple-haired woman standing at the very front. The white-haired old man who brought out the colorless needle had long since disappeared. It seemed that he knew that he couldn't snatch the primordial Tao charm from Ning Cheng, so he took the initiative to leave. The purple-haired woman, on seeing Ning Cheng excitedly put away the piece of stationary soil, showed a trace of disdain at the corner of her mouth and spoke with a flat tone, "Hand over the primordial Tao charm and leave." Ning Cheng chuckled. This woman truly had a lot of self-confidence. Ning Cheng had snatched the primordial Tao charm, yet she wanted him to hand it over. Listening to her tone, it sounded as if she wouldn't be polite if he didn't hand it over. Seeing that Ning Cheng ignored her, the woman's Tao charm soared, and a powerful aura of the great Tao burst out. Even the fat monk and the middle-aged scholar in the distance had to step aside to keep some distance. I'll say it one last time. Hand over the primordial Tao charm and get out of here. The purple-haired woman directly changed from walking to rolling, and wave after wave of killing intent and Tao charm condensed into substance. Was this Tao Lord Fate? Ning Cheng looked at the purple-haired woman in amazement, feeling puzzled in his heart. Because the great Tao charm around this woman was the Tao charm of fate, and it contained a kind of Tao charm aura, but he had heard from Xiao Wuxin that Tao Lord Fate was a very kind person. Not only did he teach his fate cultivation method to many Tao disciples, but he also often opened Tao halls to discuss the Tao. This woman was so fierce. Was she really Tao Lord Fate? I understand now. So you're the ancestor of the Blue True Hope tribe. Sure enough, what kind of gourd produces what kind of ladle? Ning Cheng suddenly spoke up. The ancestor of the Blue True Hope tribe cultivated a fate cultivation method, but Ning Cheng could tell from this purple-haired woman that she had comprehended the fate cultivation method's branch of fate cultivation method to the extreme and had even made a breakthrough. Ning Cheng shook his head. Except for Athli, the kings of the Blue True Hope tribe didn't seem to be good people. The purple-haired woman didn't care about Ning Cheng knowing about the Blue True Hope tribe at all. Seeing Ning Cheng shake his head, she no longer spoke any nonsense. A gray butterfly-shaped weapon rolled up a monstrous Tao charm of hope and blasted towards Ning Cheng. The moment the purple-haired woman brought out the weapon, Ning Cheng felt a desire to crawl on the ground and pray. Along with the butterfly-shaped weapon, the power of hope billowed like smoke, vast and boundless. Ning Cheng had never thought that the power of hope could reach such a terrifying level. If his mind was weak, he feared that the power of hope would have directly turned into a Tao charm, and then become a part of the power of hope. Moreover, this Tao charm of hope was something he was willing to do. The soundless Tao charm filled Ning Cheng's body, mind, and soul. This kind of fullness seemed impossible to dispel with his body and will. I want to pray with my flesh and blood, I want to pray with my soul, I want to pray with my Tao. The endless Tao charm of hope completely wrapped around Ning Cheng at this moment. It felt as if only by kneeling on the ground could he alleviate and free himself from the oppression and suffering. Turn into the Tao charm of hope for me. The purple-haired woman snapped. The butterfly-shaped weapon felt like a rolling mountain, almost pressing down on Ning Cheng's head. The middle-aged scholar watching from the side quietly retreated. He knew that even if Ning Cheng died, the primordial chaos Tao charm would no longer belong to him. A sneer appeared at the corner of the purple-haired woman's mouth. She didn't know how Ning Cheng got so lucky to enter the chaotic inner world and obtain a primordial chaos Tao charm. Unfortunately, he met her, Tao Lord Wish. Everything was illusory. Gotcha. Ning Cheng's realm domain shattered, and the butterfly-shaped weapon rolled up the endless power of hope and came crashing down. Ning Cheng slowly opened his eyes, and the Tao charm around him surged wildly. His own Tao charm laws once again transformed into a new realm domain. Anyone who wanted to break his realm domain would have to pay a price. Not to mention Tao Lord Fate, even if Tao Lord Fate came, it would be the same. The moment Ning Cheng opened his eyes, the purple-haired woman's heart thumped for no reason. Her wish butterfly had devoured many souls and devoured many Tao charms, But she had never seen anyone like Ning Cheng. Some powerhouses would look at her when the wish butterfly swallowed them, with only pious prayers and expectations in their eyes. But Ning Cheng definitely wasn't like him, who looked calm with a bit of sarcasm. Before the purple-haired woman could understand what was going on, Ning Cheng's good fortune divine spear had already shot out. The raging spear intent, along with the endless aura of time, blasted towards her wish butterfly. This was a laws of time spirit technique. As a supreme powerhouse, the purple-haired woman naturally knew about the power of time cultivation methods. The most powerful time cultivation methods could stagnate or even reverse time. However, Ning Cheng's time spirit technique didn't make time stagnate, nor did it reverse time. If she had to describe this spirit technique with her own feelings, it would be that time flew by like an arrow. This was the rapid flow of time. At this moment, time poured down like a river bursting through a dam. The Tao charm of time that poured down formed a space-time. This was the third stage of Ning Cheng's time realm. Boom. The wish butterfly, which came crashing down, was blocked by the time-space-time. The endless power of hope and Tao charm seemed to have been swallowed by time. A long spear crossed the time-space-time and blasted into the stagnant wish butterfly. Chapter 1468. Although it was just a magical weapon, the butterfly wish, under Ning Cheng's spear, unexpectedly issued out a shrill scream. Following which, the power of destiny that was suppressing his mind instantly dissipated, and his surroundings became clear again. Only then did Ning Cheng get a clear look at the Hope Butterfly magical weapon. It was somewhat similar to the bird that he had obtained from the ancient desolate Hope Butterfly, but it did not have the imperial jade seal. This was a weapon refined from a living being. Ning Cheng could actually feel the sadness and sorrow of the Hope Butterfly in his heart. It felt as if it was narrating the helplessness and injustice of life. It felt as if it was narrating that it, a heaven-splitting divine bird, ended up being refined into a Hope Butterfly weapon. An inexplicable anger rose from the bottom of Ning Cheng's heart. Regardless of whether this anger was due to the influence of the Hope Butterfly or not, the murderous aura around Ning Cheng's body gradually grew thicker. "Who are you?" The purple-haired woman looked at Ning Cheng with a slightly pale face. This person not only broke free from her endless hope power Tao charm but also hurt her Hope Butterfly. Ever since she started cultivating, she had seen many experts. She knew of the 5 sages and the 10 Tao lords, and she herself was one of them. But he had never heard of this young man before. Ning Cheng took in a deep breath. He didn't answer. With a roll of his long spear, it transformed into one space after another. At the same time, he rushed towards the purple-haired woman and shot out a finger. The law-breaking finger could destroy everything and ignore any law-sacred art. Boom. The purple-haired woman's Tao charm boundary directly cracked under Ning Cheng's law-breaking finger. The purple-haired woman was shocked. She did not think that Ning Cheng would not even bother to answer her question. However, at this moment, it was too late for her to get angry. What she had to face was Ning Cheng's monstrous imposing aura, which almost turned her corporeal body into slag. The purple-haired woman's Tao charm also started to stir up, and the wish butterfly, which had screamed miserably under Ning Cheng's attack, once again turned into a bird-type weapon made of the power of hope. Ning Cheng suddenly felt a surge of sadness in his heart. He didn't even want to use his finger to attack the wish butterfly, which contained the endless Tao charm of long-awaited wishes. His finger paused slightly, and the purple-haired woman had already disappeared without a trace with the butterfly. Ning Cheng did not chase after them, as he did not know what to do after catching up with them. If he wanted to kill the purple-haired woman, he would have to destroy her butterfly wish treasure. "Master!" Chasing bull screams rang out. Ning Cheng couldn't care less about the purple-haired woman and rushed over with a flash. The fat monk, on seeing Ning Cheng disappear, hesitated for a long time. In the end, he did not chase after Ning Cheng. Instead, he changed a direction and instantly escaped. Before he arrived, Ning Cheng condensed a Tao charm hand seal and grabbed the fleeing chasing bull. The next moment, a fist blasted out and landed at the original location of chasing bull. If it had been just a little later, Chasing Bull would have most likely turned into slag under this punch. Even a place as hard as the Chaos Inner Realm was blasted open by this punch. Master, this bastard saw that I got a good thing and attacked me. If it weren't for Master, this Grandpa Bull? No, your loyal little bull would have died at the hands of this bastard. Chasing Bull was just short of tears and snot. You again? The man who punched out stared at Ning Cheng and shouted out. Ning Cheng actually knew this person. This person had extremely white skin and looked very delicate. Moreover, this person's magical weapon was an octagonal heaven and earth hammer. This fellow's name was Xian Mao, and he should have cultivated a strength cultivation technique. As such, he had incredible strength. Ning Cheng had fought with him in the heavens beyond of mysterious yellow, and Ning Cheng's strength had been slightly stronger than his. During that battle, he had used all 6 bridges, coupled with the 3rd stage flowing time realm and the order breaking finger. Moreover, he had grasped the perfect timing to drive Xian Mao away. Even so, he had suffered heavy injuries. One could say that he had lost that battle. Without the quintessential essence of the universe, no one knew what the consequences would have been. Now that Xian Mao appeared in the Chaos Inner Realm again, his strength had increased by several levels compared to before. He had even stepped into the Realm Convergence realm. Facing Xian Mao, who had increased his strength, Ning Cheng felt even more relaxed. Compared to when he was in the heavens beyond of mysterious yellow, his strength had also increased. It wasn't just a few levels, but a qualitative transformation. Ning Cheng ignored Xian Mao. Not to mention Xian Mao, he didn't even care about Tao Lord Strength, who cultivated a strength cultivation technique. No matter how strong Xian Mao was, he couldn't be stronger than Tao Lord Strength, right? What did you pick up? Ning Cheng asked Chasing Bull instead. Chasing Bull proudly grabbed a piece of gray material and said, Master, take a look. Heaven-opening Mother Iron. Ning Cheng said in shock. Heaven-opening Mother Iron was precious because there was only one piece after the universe opened. The heaven-opening Mother Iron of the light and dark universe had been collected by Qin Mutian in the light vault and ended up becoming his. He had refined the 5-element universe's heaven-opening Mother Iron into the creation divine spear, and another piece had appeared in the Chaos Inner Realm. This showed that the heaven-opening Mother Iron used to refine the transformation spirit spear wasn't complete. The piece of heaven-opening Mother Iron used to refine the transformation spirit spear and the heaven-opening Mother Iron obtained by Chasing Bull had fused together to form a complete piece. Seeing the heaven-opening Mother Iron, Ning Cheng also understood why Xian Mao disregarded his identity and attacked an ant like Chasing Bull. Xian Mao had an unusual obsession with the heaven-opening Mother Iron. When he first saw the creation divine spear, he wanted it. However, during the competition, Ning Cheng had injured him and left. Now that he saw Chasing Bull picking up the heaven-opening Mother Iron, it would be strange if he didn't feel tempted. Ning Cheng raised his hand and grabbed the heaven-opening Mother Iron. After putting away the Mother Iron, he looked at Xian Mao and said, You're also a realm convergence expert. Yet, you actually dared to snatch my companion beast thing. Don't you have any face? Xian Mao wanted to say that he saw it first, but it would be a ridiculous lie. If he had seen it first, no matter how far away it was, it wouldn't have fallen into the hands of a companion beast with low cultivation. I know all your means. You're not my opponent. Take out the heaven-opening Mother Iron, and I won't embarrass you. Xian Mao said with a slow tone. He knew that Ning Cheng's most powerful move was the 6 bridges. As long as Ning Cheng didn't have the 7th bridge, Ning Cheng couldn't do anything to him. What's more, his current strength couldn't be compared to when he first arrived at the mysterious yellow heavens beyond. Ning Cheng didn't start immediately because he knew that Xian Mao didn't want to kill Chasing Bull at first. If Xian Mao had wanted to kill Chasing Bull from the beginning, Chasing Bull wouldn't have even been able to call for help. Later, when Chasing Bull escaped and called for help, Xian Mao took action. Ning Cheng said with a calm voice, There are many good things in the chaotic inner world. If you don't pick them up, I'll leave. If you want to fight, I'll accompany you. Xian Mao originally felt that he was in the wrong, but seeing that Ning Cheng didn't appreciate it at all, he sneered and brought out the octagonal heaven and earth hammer. Wait. Just when Xian Mao was about to make a move, another figure descended. Senior apprentice brother? Xian Mao called out in surprise and didn't continue to fight. Ning Cheng also knew this person, Dao Lord Strength. Looking at Dao Lord Strength's appearance, Ning Cheng understood that this fellow must have obtained a lot of benefits here. It turns out to be Dao Lord Ning. I wonder why Dao Lord Ning wants to fight my junior apprentice brother? Dao Lord Strength knew very well that Xian Mao wasn't Ning Cheng's opponent at all. Not to mention Xian Mao, even if he and Xian Mao joined forces, they wouldn't be able to cause any harm to Ning Cheng. Xian Mao looked at Dao Lord Strength in doubt. Senior apprentice brother, do you know this person? He's just a junior. Even if he obtained some good spirit techniques by chance, it doesn't count for much. His 7 bridges spirit technique is also missing the 7th bridge. Xian Mao felt puzzled because he knew Ning Cheng's origin. And Dao Lord Strength was his senior apprentice brother, one of the 10 ancient Dao Lords. Before Ning Cheng entered the reincarnation cycle, his strength surpassed Dao Lord Strength, but his reputation was far inferior to Dao Lord Strength. Which of the 10 ancient Dao Lords wasn't a proud person? How could they be so polite to a nobody like Ning Cheng? Dao Lord Strength waved his hand at Xian Mao and continued to look at Ning Cheng in doubt, seemingly waiting for Ning Cheng's answer. Ning Cheng then understood that Xian Mao and Dao Lord Strength's cultivation method originated from the same place. Seeing that Xian Mao didn't show much respect to Dao Lord Strength, Ning Cheng wondered if it was because Gai Yi took away the title of Dao Lord Strength, while Xian Mao didn't get anything. In fact, Ning Cheng's guess was right. Both Xian Mao and Gai Yi cultivated strength cultivation methods. Before entering the reincarnation cycle, although Xian Mao wasn't as strong as Gai Yi, he wasn't much weaker than Gai Yi. Later, Xian Mao cultivated hard and even felt that his strength had surpassed Gai Yi. That was because he had been in seclusion, while Gai Yi was wandering outside. In the end, Gai Yi gained the title of one of the 10 ancient Dao Lords, but he didn't get anything. It wasn't until the gate of good fortune opened that he fell inside and was reborn through reincarnation that he no longer cared about the title. However, he still found it strange that Gai Yi, one of the 10 ancient Dao Lords, was so polite to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng chuckled. It turns out that Xian Mao is your junior apprentice brother. Your junior apprentice brother snatched my companion beast things and even tried to kill my companion beast. I didn't care about it, but now he even tried to kill my companion beast. What do you think? Dao Lord Strength looked at Chasing Bull next to Ning Cheng and understood everything. He quickly cupped his fists again and said, "This is my junior apprentice brother's fault. I hope Dao Lord Ning can forgive him." After saying that, Dao Lord Strength stopped Xian Mao, who was about to speak. Dao Lord Strength wasn't such a person. Even if he wasn't as strong as Ning Cheng, he wouldn't speak so politely. Even if Dao Lord Strength had some kind of plot, Ning Cheng would take it. "Let's go." Ning Cheng no longer spoke any nonsense. With Chasing Bull in his hand, he flashed deeper into the chaotic inner world. For him, the most important thing right now was to look for good things in this place. Senior apprentice brother, why are you so polite to him? He's just a junior. And do you know what that bull took? It's the heaven-opening Iron Mother. As soon as Ning Cheng left, Xian Mao spoke up with a gloomy expression. The heaven-opening Iron Mother was too important to him. After saying this, Xian Mao wanted to chase after it again. Heaven-opening Iron Mother? Dao Lord Strength felt shocked and couldn't help but sigh at Ning Cheng's dog shit luck. This thing was extremely important to him and Xian Mao. Wait, even if he wanted the heaven-opening Iron Mother, Dao Lord Strength still stopped Xian Mao. Chapter 1469. Xian Mao looked at Dao Lord Strength in confusion. He knew that it was the Heaven Creation Metal Mother, so why did this senior brother still hold him back? Dao Lord Strength let out a depressed breath and said solemnly, "Junior brother, do you know what this person did before the Chaos Inner Realm opened?" What? Xian Mao asked subconsciously. Dao Lord Strength said in a deep voice, "He defeated the Shenhuang Solitary Goose, easily defeated the 5-colored Dao Lord and even fought with Dao Lord Chaos without being at a disadvantage." Xian Mao took a deep breath. Although the Xianhuang solitary goose's strength had not recovered to its original level, Xian Mao was definitely not a match for him. He was one of the 5 sacred lords. Even the 5-colored Tao Lord was probably not weaker than Xian Mao, let alone the Xianhuang solitary goose. As for Tao Lord Chaos, Xian Mao was sure that even if he and his senior brother Tao Lord Strength joined forces, they might not be a match for him. Tao Lord Chaos and Tao Lord Strength were both part of the 10 Tao Lords, but there were differences in strength. Tao Lord Chaos was clearly an expert among the 10 Tao Lords. Is he really that powerful? Xian Mao was filled with doubts. Although his relationship with his senior brother wasn't very good, he knew that his senior brother shouldn't lie to him about this. Tao Lord Strength's tone was simple and direct. He's really that powerful. Seeing Xian Mao's desolate expression, Tao Lord Strength suddenly smiled. But don't worry, we have a way to deal with him. If he can really fight with Tao Lord Chaos, the 2 of us might not be able to do anything. Xian Mao regained his composure. Not the 2 of us. Tao Lord Strength raised his hand and set up a soundproof restriction. Apart from the 2 of us, there's also the Xianhuang solitary goose and the 5-colored Tao Lord. They will help? Xian Mao was even more puzzled. Before the Xianhuang solitary goose's strength was damaged, he was one of the 5 sacred lords. Even Tao Lord Chaos couldn't do anything to him. To be honest, even Tao Lord Strength wouldn't be able to invite such an expert. Such a person wouldn't help even if the benefits were lacking, not to mention there were no benefits. Tao Lord Strength knew what Xian Mao meant inside. We've cultivated for countless years and seen many treasures in the void, but we can't compare to a junior like you. Do you think that Ning Qing only has the heaven-opening Mother Iron and the Good Fortune Divine Spear? He also has the 5-colored Star Splitter and the mysterious yellow bead. Xian Mao sucked in a breath of cold air. How could this fellow have so many treasures on him? Immediately, he understood why the mysterious yellow Gaian and the 5-colored Tao Lord would help him. The 2 of them wanted the mysterious yellow bead and the 5-colored splitter star. Although he also wanted these 2 things, he knew very well that these 2 things originally belonged to the Xianhuang Gaian and the 5-colored Tao Lord. He wouldn't be able to live in peace even if he took them. Alright, then between the 2 of us, one of us wants the Mother Opening Iron and the other wants that spear. What's the harm in giving the other 2 items to them? Where were the heavenly yellow sacred leader and the 5-colored Tao Lord? Let's stop Ning Qing together. Even if he has great abilities, he would not be able to escape. Xian Mao immediately made up his mind. In his opinion, with the Xianhuang Gaian and 5-colored Tao Lord taking action, coupled with him and Strength Tao Lord, Ning Qing could only wait for death no matter how strong he was. Strength Tao Lord waved his hand. If the 4 of us join forces to stop him, I'm afraid we won't have another chance. Even if the 4 of us join forces, are we still not his match? Is he 5 Elements sacred leader or the Pan clan? Strength Tao Lord said with a frown. Strength Tao Lord smiled slightly. 5 Elements sacred leader and the Pan clan have already dissipated from the universe. He naturally isn't one of them. However, if the 4 of us were to face him head-on, even if we could defeat him, we wouldn't be able to kill him. You should know how strong he is from the fact that he snatched a primordial chaos Tao rune. Ning Qing snatched the primordial chaos Tao rune. Xian Mao felt a chill run down his back. No matter how conceited he was, he did not dare say that he would snatch the primordial chaos Tao rune from those experts. If Ning Qing had really snatched the primordial chaos Tao rune, then Ning Qing might really have the strength to kill him. Strength Tao Lord said affirmatively, that's right. He did snatch a primordial chaos Tao rune. Xian Mao's heart suddenly burned with passion. If Ning Qing still had primordial chaos Tao Lord on him, it would be enough for him if the 4 of them joined forces to kill Ning Qing. Senior brother, what do you think we should do? Xian Mao no longer had any qualms. Against the primordial chaos Tao runes, what else did he have to worry about? The corners of Strength Tao Lord's mouth curled into a sneer. This person is extremely conceited. The 4 of us do not need to face him head-on. We can only sneak attack him. 4 consecutive sneak attacks. Even if 5 Elements sacred leader revives, he will remain in the chaos inner realm. We will make him spit out whatever he ate. Xian Mao frowned slightly. How could an expert like Ning Cheng sneak attack him? Strength, Dao Lord continued. There's no need to worry about this. Now that the Chaos Inner Realm has just opened, it's time to search for treasures. Let's search for treasures first. This matter will be led by the Xianhuang solitary goose in the end. All we need to do is assist from the side. Xian Mao nodded slightly and did not speak further. No matter how vast the Chaos Inner Realm's void was, the competition for treasures was extremely intense with so many experts entering. Every single treasure that appeared here was peerlessly rare. There were fights and frantic scrambles everywhere. Since Chasing Bull's speed was too slow, Ning Cheng sent Chasing Bull into the mysterious yellow bead to search for treasures in the Chaos Inner Realm. In just half a day, his mysterious yellow bead had accumulated a variety of top-grade artifact crafting materials. He even found a drop of the Chaos Tear. The Chaos Tear was a treasure no worse than the heaven-opening Mother Iron. It was condensed at the beginning of the Primal Chaos, and it was also a top-grade spirit technique that could fuse and comprehend concept-related spirit techniques. In other words, if Ning Cheng used the Chaos Tear to fuse with his concept-related spirit techniques, None to Depend On or Sunset's Twilight, it would be several times more powerful than it was now. After fusing with the Chaos Tear, None to Depend On might become Ning Cheng's top spirit technique. At that time, even his order-breaking finger and traceless void might fall behind. Once Ning Cheng obtained such a thing, it would naturally be akin to obtaining a priceless treasure. In just one day, many experts had already searched through all the top-grade treasures in the Chaos Inner Realm. Apart from the experts who fell here, the experts who obtained the treasures quickly evacuated. Even powerhouses like Primal Chaos Dao Lord had to withdraw immediately. Although there were still many things that had yet to be found, Ning Cheng decided to leave. He had already obtained what he wanted, so there was no need to stay here any longer. Ning Cheng had just turned around and walked for an incense stick worth of time when he felt the aura of the Chaos Tear again. Obtaining a drop of the Chaos Tear was already a great joy for Ning Cheng. Now that he felt the Chaos Tear again, Ning Cheng rushed over without hesitation. Just a moment later, the aura of the Chaos Tear disappeared. Ning Cheng stopped in doubt. He clearly felt the aura of the Chaos Tear just now. After waiting for half an incense stick worth of time, the vague aura of the Chaos Tear appeared again. This time, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness directly locked onto the location of the Chaos Tear. He could clearly see that it was a somewhat broken natural concealment array. No wonder no one found it, which made Ning Cheng overjoyed. In this broken natural concealment array, he also found some top-grade artifact crafting materials. If someone found the Chaos Tear, these materials would definitely not exist. Ning Cheng didn't hesitate to rush towards the broken natural concealment array. What could be happier than obtaining another drop of the Chaos Tear before leaving? Ning Cheng didn't have only the None to Depend On spirit techniques. Among the 7 bridges, the Village Gazing Bridge and Sunset's Twilight were both related to spirit techniques. Something's not right. Just as Ning Cheng was about to step into the concealment array, a sense of vigilance suddenly rose in his heart. Cultivating the Tao naturally required luck, but Ning Cheng knew that among the people who could come here, which one of them didn't have a strong luck? So why did he sense this drop of the Chaos Tear? Why didn't others sense it? Even if there was a broken natural concealment array, with so many experts' spiritual consciousnesses wandering around here, shouldn't they have noticed it? Thinking of this, Ning Cheng suddenly stopped and swept out with his spiritual consciousness. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was so strong that it could penetrate even the most hidden corner. Soon, Ning Cheng was convinced that there was no one nearby, nor were there any killing arrays arranged around him. Was he overthinking things? Ning Cheng frowned slightly. Chapter 1470. It should be that I am overthinking things, Ning Cheng thought to hear without any hesitation, as he stepped into the broken concealment array. The moment Ning Cheng stepped in, the broken concealment array suddenly shattered. Not good, Ning Cheng immediately realized that someone had plotted against him. Sure enough, the next moment, The broken concealment array turned into a top-grade killing array. Sure enough, a few Dao lights tore through the void and blasted towards him. I can't retreat. Ning Cheng understood what to do in the shortest time. The good fortune divine spear in his hand transformed into a spear pattern that protected him outside the domain. The moment he brought out the good fortune divine spear, Ning Cheng punched behind him. He didn't know if there was an attack behind him, but he believed that since that person had deliberately set up such a sneak attack, it definitely wouldn't be a frontal attack from the killing array. This kind of frontal attack couldn't even hurt him, so how could it sneak attack him? Sure enough, Ning Cheng's fist had just punched out when an octagonal heaven-earth hammer slammed into Ning Cheng from behind like a meteorite. As soon as the violent Dao charm hit him, Ning Cheng immediately realized who was behind him. Xian Mao. If Xian Mao hadn't plotted against him from behind, Ning Cheng might have fought back with all his might. But since Xian Mao appeared behind him, Ning Cheng understood that there must be another plot. The one who plotted against him with Xian Mao was Dao Lord Strength. Xian Mao looked handsome and had great strength. But in Ning Cheng's impression, he wasn't a master of schemes. When he thought of Dao Lord Strength, Ning Cheng started to doubt Dao Lord Strength's thoughts. He and Dao Lord Strength had come into contact before. Although Dao Lord Strength had a more meticulous mind compared to Xian Mao, he probably wasn't as meticulous as Xian Mao. Boom! The Dao charm exploded. No matter how strong Ning Cheng was, Xian Mao's all-out attack from the octagonal heaven-earth hammer shattered his fist and turned it into a bloody mess. But Ning Cheng didn't care about it at all. His good fortune divine spear couldn't even completely block the incoming killing array attack before it rolled back. The killing array's attack blasted open Ning Cheng's domain, which he hadn't fully defended, and tore open several bloody wounds on Ning Cheng's waist. 5 lights swept over Ning Cheng's head, and the laws of space instantly changed. Ning Cheng raised his hand and pointed out with a finger. Nirvana destroyed everything, and the void broke the laws. Boom! Ning Cheng's finger blasted open the law space created by the 5-colored spirit light, and the 5-colored Dao monarch also suffered a backlash from the powerful Dao charm aura and flew out. Ning Cheng did not even have the time to breathe a sigh of relief when an aura of death descended upon him. In a hurry, Ning Cheng quickly brought out the good fortune divine spear. His spiritual sense scanned Dao Lord Strength's figure and he heaved a sigh of relief. It was Dao Lord Strength's giant seal that came crashing down. As long as he could block the attack of the Dao Monarch of Strength, he would be able to regain his senses. The divine spear of creation collided with the Dao Lord of Strength's gigantic seal. Dao runes exploded once again and the surroundings were in chaos. At the same time, Ning Cheng realized that he had made a mistake. No matter how powerful a sneak attack from a Dao Lord of Strength was, it wouldn't pose a threat to him. What he had sensed just now was the threat of death. It could be seen that apart from the Dao Lord of Strength, there was another person hiding in a corner and plotting against him. 7th Reincarnation Bridge. Ning Cheng raised his hand and rolled up the Reincarnation Bridge. The outline of the Reincarnation Bridge had just appeared, and the Dao charm of Samsara hadn't had time to condense yet. A giant monument filled with a vast aura came crashing down. This was the real killer move. What made Ning Cheng feel the threat of death wasn't the Dao Lord of Strength's giant seal, but this giant monument. The one who attacked him was the mysterious yellow solitary goose. Ning Cheng's eyes turned red, and he suddenly turned around with his back facing the giant monument. Gotcha! Ning Cheng's reincarnation bridge, which had yet to take shape, completely shattered under the giant monument. The next moment, the giant monument tore through Ning Cheng's realm barrier once again and blasted towards Ning Cheng's back. Ning Cheng didn't care about the giant monument at all. Instead, he pointed at the vast void in front of him and raised his hand to tear it apart. This was his only chance of survival. Bang! The giant monument slammed into Ning Cheng's back, and bursts of bone-tearing sounds could be heard. Ning Cheng's entire body's bones broke inch by inch at this moment, and the Dao charm all over his body exploded into chaos. Ning Cheng should be thankful that the Chaos Inner Realm had been blasted open for some time, and the most primitive Chaos aura in the Chaos Inner Realm had dissipated. Otherwise, even if he used all his strength, he wouldn't have been able to blast open the void here. Because the Chaos Inner Realm's aura had dissipated, the Chaos Inner Realm now had all kinds of messy laws, which allowed Ning Cheng's finger to tear open a crack. As soon as the crack in the void appeared, Ning Cheng rushed in without hesitation. His entire body almost turned into a ray of light and completely disappeared from the crack. Hurry up and chase after him. He doesn't have any combat power at this moment. Xian Mao said anxiously. The mysterious yellow solitary goose appeared and looked at the place where Ning Cheng disappeared with a gloomy face. It slowly said, "It's useless. Even if we tear open this place again, it might not necessarily be the positional plane Ning Cheng left from. The Chaos Inner Realm now faces endless positional boundaries. We won't be able to find him. This person is too strong." Dao Lord of Strength also sucked in a breath of cold air and wondered if Ning Cheng would come looking for him in the future. Five-color Dao Lord clenched his fists and shook his head after a long while. In the future, if you meet this person alone, run as far as you can. His strongest point isn't his strength, but his ability to find the right way in the shortest time. The four of them fell silent. Everyone understood Five-color Dao Lord's words. Ning Cheng's temperament was even more terrifying. No matter who it was, when faced with the sudden attack of the trap and kill array, their first reaction would be to quickly retreat. If that was the case, Ning Cheng's retreat would be a gift to Xian Mao. Not only did Ning Cheng not retreat, but he also punched backwards while bringing out the Good Fortune Divine Spear to block the attack of the trap and kill array. This wasn't the most terrifying thing. The most terrifying thing was that after Ning Cheng broke through the Five-color Dao Lord's law space, his aura dissipated. At this time, Dao Lord of Strength suddenly launched a sneak attack. Ning Cheng should have focused all his energy on Dao Lord of Strength. In this case, the mysterious yellow solitary goose made its final blow. Even if it was Ning Cheng facing the mysterious yellow solitary goose's full blow, even if he didn't die, his body would shatter. However, Ning Cheng could still bring out half of the reincarnation bridge to block part of the mysterious yellow solitary goose's attack. In fact, even up to this point, it was all within the mysterious yellow solitary goose's calculations. He guessed that Ning Cheng wouldn't be easy to kill, so he prepared for Ning Cheng to suffer heavy injuries. As long as Ning Cheng suffered heavy injuries, facing the four powerhouses in the trap and kill array, even if he hid in the mysterious yellow bead, he would still die. In the end, Ning Cheng's choice disappointed Xianhuang Gaian. Even if Ning Cheng's Grand Dao scattered and his bones broke, he still put all his strength into blasting open the chaotic void of the inner realm at the last moment instead of using it to resist Xianhuang Gaian's mysterious yellow steel. It turned out that Ning Cheng's choice was a success. He managed to escape, albeit with heavy injuries. But it was much better than facing the siege of four powerhouses in the trap and kill array with serious injuries. "I'm leaving." The Five-color Dao Lord suddenly no longer had any interest in chasing after Ning Cheng. He turned around and disappeared instantly. After the Five-color Dao Lord disappeared, the mysterious yellow solitary goose also grabbed the Tear of Chaos and quickly left. "I'm leaving too. If Ning Cheng can appear again, don't provoke him in the future." After Dao Lord of Strength finished speaking, he changed directions and quickly left. He was sure that Ning Cheng would appear again. They had already calculated that Ning Cheng would die this time, but Ning Cheng still managed to escape. At this moment, Ning Cheng found himself in a void without any spiritual aura. He couldn't think of a way to escape. First, if the mysterious yellow solitary goose and the other three chased after him, he wouldn't be able to escape. Second, he didn't have the ability to do so. At this time, he fully understood the mysterious yellow solitary goose's arrangement. The broken natural concealment array was most likely real. After a little modification by the mysterious yellow solitary goose, it turned into a trap and kill array that could be activated at any time. And the one who activated the trap and kill array was Ning Cheng. When he stepped into the broken concealment array, he was equivalent to an array flag. How could he have thought of such a scheme? As for the four people who suddenly appeared, they also activated 4 of the teleportation arrays after the trap and kill array took shape. Fortunately, he managed to tear open the void of the chaotic inner realm in time. Otherwise, facing these four powerhouses in the trap and kill array, it would have been difficult for him to survive. In any case, he had to take revenge. But now, he was so badly injured that he couldn't even cultivate. His grand Tao was fragmented, and his bones were shattered. Each of the mysterious yellow tablets' Tao charm attacks carried a tearing aura. Even the best treasures of heaven and earth couldn't repair his bones in time. Ning Cheng let himself float in the void and recondensed his Tao charm. Condensing the grand Tao in this void without any laws or spiritual aura was even better than entering the mysterious yellow bead. Chapter 1471. Even you have such a day. In a void at the edge of the chaos, a man stared at an empty space and sneered. Beside him, a beautiful woman in red asked in confusion, "Big brother Tianmu, who is it?" The man turned around and said with a smile, "It's Ning Cheng. Someone just schemed against him. Even if he doesn't die, it's tantamount to crippling him." After saying that, the man raised his hand and looked at the iron nail he had just picked up in his hand with a satisfied expression. Congratulations to Big Brother Tianmu for obtaining a creation wood nail. The red-robed woman spoke with a gentle tone and bowed. This man was Qin Mutian from the light and dark cosmos, while the red-robed woman was Zhu Yinghua, who followed Qin Mutian. She had been in Qin Mutian's world until Qin Mutian snatched the primordial chaos Tao runes. Only then did Qin Mutian call her out and look for some opportunities. After hearing Zhu Yinghua's words, Qin Mutian laughed. "Yes, I didn't expect to not only obtain a primordial chaos Tao rune but also a creation wood nail in this place." With these two things, even if he lost many things in the Radiance warehouse, it would be enough to compensate. His smile quickly faded and he said with some regret, "Unfortunately, it's just a creation wood nail and not the creation wood. If I had obtained the creation wood..." Qin Mutian didn't continue. He also knew that it was impossible. If he could obtain the creation wood, he wouldn't have waited for Qin Mutian. Zhu Yinghua also echoed and said with regret, "It's really a pity. I heard that the creation wood broke when the primal chaos first formed and split into two pieces. One piece gave birth to the Tree of Life, while the other gave birth to the Tree of Life." Qin Mutian smiled slightly. "You're wrong. When the creation wood broke, it didn't split into two kinds of trees, but into 5 kinds of trees. The first was the universe tree, the second was the Tree of Life, the third was the chaos tree, the fourth was the nirvana tree, and the fifth was the Tree of Life." Zhu Yinghua quickly said, "The universe tree, the Tree of Life, and the chaos tree are actually the same kind. The nirvana tree and the Tree of Life are also the same kind. Therefore, it's still 2 kinds of trees." Qin Mutian said indifferently, "That's because there are really only 2 types left. It's not like the world trees split into 2 back then. So, it doesn't matter what you call them." Zhu Yinghua didn't seem to doubt Qin Mutian's words at all. She quickly nodded and said, "Brother Mutian, I heard that Ning Cheng and Yi Mo each have a branch of the world tree." Qin Mutian looked at the builder wood nail in his hand again and sneered. "So what if they each have a type of tree? My builder wood nail is a chaotic item that hasn't been derived from the builder wood. It's many times stronger than an ordinary divine wood derived from it." At this point, Qin Mutian sighed. "It's a pity that I don't have a creation world treasure. Otherwise, my creation wood nail might have regained its former elegance." Qin Mutian once again thought of Ning Cheng and secretly sighed in his heart. When Xianhuang Gaian and the others plotted against Ning Cheng, he had been watching from a distance. Unfortunately, Xianhuang Gaian and the others failed. If Xianhuang Gaian and the others succeeded, then he would have killed Xianhuang Gaian immediately and snatched the mysterious yellow bead. If the mysterious yellow bead was in Ning Cheng's hands, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to snatch it away. However, since it was in Xianhuang Gaian's hands, he was confident that he could snatch it away. Although Xianhuang Gaian was the first owner of the mysterious yellow bead, her current strength was probably not as good as Ning Cheng. "Brother Tianmu, now that you have obtained a primordial chaos Tao rune, you must be going into secluded cultivation. Yinghua will also be leaving. In the future, when Brother Tianmu comes out of seclusion, If you want Yinghua to serve you, just send me a message. Zhu Yinghua once again bowed, her tone filled with reluctance and dependence. Qin Mutian smiled. He walked in front of Zhu Yinghua and gently hugged her. He took out a ring and handed it to Zhu Yinghua. He said, "Yinghua, I will come out of seclusion soon. In the future, I will make you extremely satisfied. Take this ring, it will be of some use to you." Zhu Yinghua took the ring and showed a soft smile. "Brother, I believe in you. I will take my leave first. Otherwise, I'm afraid I won't be able to bear to part with you." After that, Zhu Yinghua looked at Qin Mutian affectionately again before turning around and leaving quickly. The moment Zhu Yinghua disappeared, Qin Mutian's smile also disappeared. He looked in the direction Zhu Yinghua left and nodded slightly. This was an extremely smart woman. Just now, he deliberately said that Ning Cheng suffered heavy injuries because he wanted to see if this woman would ask him to destroy the Grand Essence Realm. But this woman didn't mention it at all. Instead, she said goodbye. Apparently, she was very tactful. At this time, Qin Mutian obtained the Primordial Chaos Dao Rune. The first thing he wanted to do was to integrate the Primordial Chaos Dao Rune and step into the top-grade Grand Dao. At this time, if Zhu Yinghua dared to ask him to destroy the Grand Essence Realm and waste his time, he would slap her without hesitation. Since this woman didn't mention it, then after he integrated the Primordial Chaos Dao and comprehended the Primordial Dao of the universe, he would definitely crush the Grand Essence Realm. Zhu Yinghua followed him in this chaotic inner world and obtained a lot of benefits. This woman was so smart and possessed a supreme profound Dao physique. Not only did she betray him, but she also hid herself. Her future achievements would definitely not be low. But no matter what this woman did, Qin Mutian wasn't in the mood to destroy the Grand Essence Realm. The most important thing for him was to find a remote place and integrate the Primordial Chaos Dao charm. Not long after Qin Mutian disappeared, Zhu Yinghua, who was running in the chaotic inner world, stopped. Her gentle eyes suddenly turned sharp as she stared at the place where Qin Mutian disappeared and said coldly, "Is it that easy to sleep with a profound Dao physique?" After muttering to herself, Zhu Yinghua took a step into the void and disappeared. If Ning Cheng saw Zhu Yinghua's actions, he would definitely be shocked. Because Zhu Yinghua's speed wasn't any slower than Dao Monarch Star. Grand Essence Realm. It had been nearly 100,000 years since Ning Cheng left this place. In the past 100,000 years, too many things had happened in Grand Essence. No matter how many things had happened, the Grand Essence Dao Court had become stronger and stronger. Even Li Feng had officially entered the Dao integration realm. At this moment, in the meeting hall of the mysterious Yellow Sect's main peak, Ning Ruolin, Chu Manha, Dao Monarch Proud Dance, and Ao Ken were all silent. After a while, Ning Ruolin asked again, "Big brother Ao Ken, did my brother really go to the chaotic inner world back then?" Ao Ken nodded and said solemnly, "That's the news I got from Heavens Beyond. I heard that many people obtained supreme treasures in Heavens Beyond." "Did those who entered the chaotic inner world appear?" Ning Ruolin asked anxiously without waiting for Ao Ken to finish speaking. Ao Ken shook his head. "No, but I'm sure someone came out. Otherwise, how could this news have spread?" Seeing that Ao Ken seemed to want to say something, Ning Ruolin frowned and said, "Big brother Ao Ken, you and my brother are like brothers. What else can't you tell me?" Ao Ken sighed. "There is indeed one thing, but I don't know if it's true or not. Big brother Ao Ken, Aunt Proud Dance, and Sister Manha are not outsiders." Ning Ruolin nodded and said to Ao Ken. Ao Ken hesitated for a long time before he made up his mind and said, "Ruolin, don't worry. Although I heard that a few experts in the chaotic inner world schemed to attack Big Brother, they didn't manage to kill him." Ning Ruolin suddenly stood up. Not only her tone, but even her fingers trembled slightly as she said, "Big brother Ao Ken, do you mean that my brother was plotted against in the chaotic inner world back then and was severely injured?" Ao Ken hurriedly said, "Ruolin, don't worry. Rumor has it that Big Brother was plotted against and left with severe injuries. Firstly, this is just a rumor. Secondly, even if it's true, Big Brother will definitely be fine with his ability." Ning Ruolin said with red eyes, "But it's been almost 100,000 years, and there's no news about Big Brother. It's not just Big Brother. There's also no news about the others who entered the chaotic inner world. Aokan explained. No, I have to find Big Brother right away. Ning Ruolin could no longer sit still and spoke up anxiously. Aokan walked out of his seat and spoke to Ning Ruolin with a straight face. Ruolin, even if you want to find Big Brother, it should be me. I have more experience in the outside world than you, and my cultivation is also higher. What's more, this is the foundation left behind by Big Brother. Don't go. Ning Ruolin's face turned red and was about to speak when she suddenly heard another trembling voice. Ruolin, Big Brother Aokan is right. You can't go. I'll go. Big Sister Lufei, did you come out? Ning Ruolin quickly took a few steps forward and hugged Ji Lufei. She couldn't help but sob. Even if she cultivated for a long time and improved her strength, she still couldn't give up on her big brother. He held back the anxiety in her heart and patted Ning Ruolin's shoulder. Ruolin, don't worry. I vaguely feel that your brother will be fine. Moreover, my strength has also reached the late-stage primordial chaos realm, so I have the ability to walk outside. Didn't your brother say that? Flowers raised at home can never withstand the wind outside. Taisu has too many enemies. If we continue to stay here and cultivate in seclusion, I'm afraid we won't be able to help much if something happens to Taisu in the future. Because this place is very important to us, Ruolin, you have to stay here. Big Sister Lui, I'll go with you. Another voice came. Ning Ruolin looked at the woman in a cyan dress standing at the door and quickly asked, Big Sister Yen, did you also come out? Your cultivation? Although Ning Ruolin was still at the late-stage Dao Essence realm, she could feel that Yenji's strength was a level higher than Big Sister Luofei's. Without waiting for Ruolin to speak, Chu Manha spoke up, Yenji, congratulations. You've succeeded in Dao integration and are a little closer to the third step. You've reached Dao integration? Ruolin asked in surprise. However, she immediately recalled her big brother, and the surprise on her face instantly froze. Yenji walked to Ruolin's side and gently hugged Ruolin. Ruolin, I haven't really slept with your brother yet. He must be fine. After Big Sister Lufei and I leave, I'll leave this place to you. Everyone understood what Yenji meant. That is, even if she died, she would still be Ning City's people. This time, she had to go out and find Ning City. Chapter 1472. At this moment, a messenger flying sword flew in with a sharp, whistling sound. Aokan stood up and grabbed the messenger flying sword. At this moment, everyone also stood up. Only the most important messenger flying swords could be sent to this hall, otherwise, they wouldn't have come in. Aokan didn't look at the message on the messenger flying sword but handed it over to Ning Ruolin. Ning Ruolin opened the restrictions on the messenger flying sword, and a voice came over. Outside the mysterious yellow sect, a person named Shi Qianxi has an urgent matter regarding Qianghua. Sister Qianghua? Ning Ruolin looked at Ji Luofei and the others and asked in surprise. Although Shi Qianghua hadn't come to the mysterious yellow sect, Ji Luofei and the others naturally knew about her. Among the most important people in Ning Cheng's heart, Shi Qianghua was definitely one of them. Shi Qianxi is the top elder of the 9 revolving sacred Dao Pond. Is she related to Sister Qianghua? Ning Ruolin asked in doubt. Although she asked, she had already sent out a message to invite Shi Qianxi in. Yenji explained from the side, I heard that she is Sister Qianghua's first life's mother. After just a dozen breaths, a haggard, beautiful woman appeared at the entrance of the hall. Luofei greets Senior. Ji Luofei quickly came forward to greet her, followed by Ning Ruolin and Yenji. In any case, Shi Qianxi was Shi Qianghua's mother. In terms of politeness, Ji Luofei, Yenji, and the others should respect her. However, Ji Luofei's respect also contained a hint of distance. The way she addressed her as Senior and Oni were obviously different. Yenji, your cultivation? Shi Qianxi looked at Yenji and felt shocked for a long time. When she first noticed Yenji, what was Yenji's cultivation? She hadn't even entered the eternal realm. But now, Yenji's Dao charm flowed around her, indicating that her strength had far surpassed her. According to her experience, She definitely had reached the Tao integration realm. She was an existence that Yen Ji had to look up to in the past, but now she was still lingering in the primordial chaos realm. Yen Ji bowed again and didn't speak. She had no feelings for the 9 revolving sacred Tao pond. One could even say that she hated this place. Shi Qianxi quickly recovered. She also knew that Yen Ji wouldn't have a good impression of her. Therefore, she took the initiative to congratulate Yen Ji. She then turned to Ji Luofei and said, "Fairy Levei, I wonder if Tao Lord Ning has returned? Can I see him?" Ji Luofei looked at Shi Qianxi in doubt. "Senior, why are you looking for my husband?" Shi Qianxi completely ignored her identity as a senior and bowed to Ji Luofei and Ning Ruolin. "Tao Lord Ning, please save Qianghua." "What's wrong with Sister Qianghua?" Ning Ruolin and Ji Luofei simultaneously asked in surprise. Shi Qianxi quickly said, "When Qianghua reached the peak of Tao unification, she went to the 9 revolutions sacred Tao Pon's path of severing emotions and samsara, preparing to step into the 3rd step. But after she went in, she never came out again. Tao Lord Ning, please save Qianghua. Severing emotions and samsara Tao." Ji Luofei subconsciously repeated the words. "Yes, this is my 9 revolving sacred Tao Pon's severing emotions samsara Tao. It's in the Great Change realm. I can take Tao Lord Ning there." Shi Qianxi quickly replied. Yen Ji looked at Shi Qianxi in shock. Although she wasn't even the lowest level disciple of the 9 revolutions sacred Tao Pond, she had heard of the 9 revolutions sacred Tao Pond's Tao of severing emotions and samsara. It was the most mysterious and noblest place in the 9 revolutions sacred Tao Pond. Even in the entire sect, only a few people knew about it. Yet, Shi Qianxi was willing to talk about the Tao of severing emotions and samsara. From this, it showed that she truly couldn't let go of Sister Qianghua. Yen Ji didn't think wrong. Before Shi Qianghua entered the Tao of severing emotions and samsara, she even wanted to push Shi Qianghua into it. But after Shi Qianghua went in and never came out, she felt a little regretful in her heart. If one entered the Tao of severing emotions and never came out, there was only one possibility. That was, one's spirit soul perished. After waiting outside the Tao of severing emotions and samsara for tens of thousands of years, Shi Qianxi finally believed that something had happened to Qianghua. At this time, she didn't think of asking Ning Qing for help. But after she saw the great changes in the Great Change realm, she realized that the Great Change realm had undergone many changes over the past tens of thousands of years, and the abyss's demonic creatures had looted it. If it weren't for Ning Qing, the Great Change realm would have already become a barren land. After Ning Qing destroyed the demonic creatures in the Great Change realm, the Great Change realm imitated the Grand Essence realm and established a new world order. Ning Cheng's symbolic statue stood in the center of the Great Change realm and received the respect of all the people of the Great Change realm. Only at this time did Shi Qianxi think of asking Ning Cheng for help. Once she asked Ning Cheng for help, she had to tell Ning Cheng the location of the Tao of severing emotions and samsara. Because of this, Shi Qianxi felt a little numb from the torment. In the end, she chose to go into secluded cultivation. After tens of thousands of years, Shi Qianxi's cultivation not only didn't make any progress, but the cracks in her grand Tao grew bigger and bigger. It wasn't until this time that Shi Qianxi made up her mind to leave the Great Change realm and return to Grand Essence to ask Ning Cheng for help. To make up her mind to ask Ning Cheng for help, she didn't even return to the 9 revolutions sacred Tao Pond. After listening to Shi Qianxi's words, everyone understood that Qianghua had an accident because of severing emotions. From this, it could be seen that before Qianghua's accident, Shi Qianxi had wanted Qianghua to sever all relations with Ning Cheng. Everyone fell silent. If Ning Cheng were in the mysterious yellow sect, they would have naturally told Ning Cheng about it. But now, Ning Cheng wasn't in the mysterious yellow sect, and they didn't even know if he was dead or alive. Moreover, Qianghua had already reached the 3rd step of severing emotions. Most likely, she had already severed all the feelings between her and Ning Cheng. Seeing everyone remain silent, Shi Qianxi's heart sank. Most likely, Ning Cheng had truly forgotten about Shi Qianghua. It would be difficult to ask Ning Cheng for help. Unfortunately, apart from Ning Cheng, She couldn't find anyone else who could help Shi Qianghua. Several fairies, whether Tao Lord Ning is willing to help or not, as long as you can help me make an appointment with Tao Lord Ning, I would be satisfied. Shi Qianxi spoke with almost a hint of pleading. Ji Li sighed. Sister Qianghua is in trouble. Even if you don't say it, my husband should still help. It's just that Senior might not know that when the chaotic inner realm opened, my husband also went to the chaotic inner realm. Moreover, he hasn't returned yet. I'm about to find my husband. Hearing Ji Luofei's explanation, Shi Qianxi felt dumbfounded. How could she save Qianghua without Ning Cheng's whereabouts? What was the chaotic inner realm? How many things had happened to her over the years? In the vast void, Ning Cheng, who had been sitting cross-legged in front of the starry sky wheel, finally opened his eyes. Although he didn't know how many years had passed, Ning Cheng guessed that it was no less than tens of thousands of years. Over the years, he had only managed to restore a part of his Tao charm and could barely cultivate. As for his injuries, they had only improved a little. However, Ning Cheng didn't worry about it. It was more than enough for him to condense the Tao charm. As long as he found a quiet place and merged with the primordial Tao charm, not only could he fully recover from his injuries, but his control over the Tao would also reach a new level. This void didn't have any spirit qi or any worldly Tao charm laws. Ning Cheng had been here for many years, but he hadn't encountered any major dangers. The biggest danger he faced was the occasional meteorites. For Ning Cheng, this place wasn't suitable for him to condense the Tao and integrate the primordial Tao charm. Given his current condition, it was unrealistic for him to leave this part of the void. Taking a step back, even if he could tear through the void and leave this place, he might end up facing another similar void. If he hadn't severed his Tao, it would have been best to condense and integrate the primordial Tao in the mysterious yellow bead. But now that Ning Cheng's Tao had already surpassed the mysterious yellow bead, he couldn't go to the mysterious yellow bead to condense the Tao. He didn't even go to the mysterious yellow bead to heal himself because he feared that his Tao would be affected by the mysterious yellow bead. Master, have you recovered from your injuries? Chasing Bull's surprised voice came over. Ning Cheng saw Chasing Bull standing inside the starry sky wheel and asked, Chasing Bull, didn't you stay in the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate? After Ning Cheng suffered severe injuries and ended up in this unknown void, he had asked Chasing Bull to bring out the starry sky wheel. Then, he stayed in the void to heal while Chasing Bull entered the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate. The starry sky wheel had a defensive array, so even if there was any danger, he would still have some leeway. But because he didn't know how many years it would take to heal himself, he decided to let Chasing Bull enter the mysterious yellow bead. Chasing Bull spoke up with a flattering expression, I was worried about Master's safety and stayed by your side to guard you. Only when Master grows strong can this little bull show its might. Ning Cheng felt touched and stood up to pat Chasing Bull's head. Not everyone could guard a void devoid of God's spirit qi for tens of thousands of years without any traces of human beings. Not to mention the lively Chasing Bull. Chasing Bull had too many bad habits, such as a dog relying on its master's power, being afraid of death, bullying others. But it also had one of its biggest strengths, and that was growing more and more loyal. Chasing Bull, for so many years, you stayed outside to protect me. It must have been hard on you. Ning Cheng said with a sigh. Chasing Bull showed a loyal expression and spoke up, being able to protect Master, not to mention not making any progress in cultivation, even if my cultivation kept falling, it would still be Chasing Bull's luck. Although it spoke with a firm tone, Chasing Bull felt happy in its heart. Not only did it not need to cultivate, but it also received praise from its master. It felt wonderful. The only downside was that the place where its master healed was a desolate place. If it were in a lively place, then even if its master healed for 1,000,000 years, it would still feel happy. Ning Cheng knew about the intestines in Chasing Bull's belly, but he didn't point it out. Instead, he spoke up again, I'm looking for a quiet and stable place to go into seclusion. I'm afraid this side of the void doesn't have. Chasing Bull didn't wait for Ning Cheng to finish and spoke up loudly, Master, we passed by an uninhabited planet more than a decade ago. That planet is huge. If Master doesn't have any requirements for spirit chi or the Tao charm of heaven and earth laws, then that place is the best place for seclusion. Hearing Chasing Bull's words, Ning Cheng felt pleasantly surprised. This place felt tailor-made for him to fuse with the primordial Tao charm. Chasing Bull, hurry up and push the starry sky wheel to its maximum speed. Yes, Master. Chasing Bull finished speaking and immediately went to take control of the starry sky wheel. Chapter 1473. The Grand Essence Ruins. Whether it was before Ning Cheng rebuilt the Grand Essence Tao Court or after Ning Cheng united many experts from the Grand Essence realm to establish the Grand Essence Tao Court, it had always been a lively and prosperous place. At this moment, the Grand Essence Tao Court had grown even more powerful. Plus, the Grand Essence Ruins no longer had the restrictions of the 10 million Grand Essence domain. Everyone could come and go freely, making the Grand Essence Ruins even more prosperous and lively. Compared to the previous hustle and bustle, this place was more orderly due to the laws of the Tiansu Tao Court. At the very least, there were no brazen and shameless people. No matter how good the laws and order were, the law of the jungle would never disappear. In the Grand Essence Ruins, the law of the jungle was even more powerful. The Grand Essence Ruins public square was bustling with all kinds of people. The Grand Essence Ruins Quest Hall was packed with people. A woman in gray robes walked into the Grand Essence Ruins Quest Hall with a long sword on her back. This woman clearly wore gray robes and didn't wear any makeup. However, as soon as she entered the Grand Essence Ruins Quest Hall, she attracted the attention of many people. Not for anything else, but because this woman was just too beautiful. If it weren't for the fact that the Taisu Palace was in control, someone would have gone up to talk to this woman. Not only was this woman beautiful, but her cultivation was also very ordinary. It seemed like she had yet to reach Tao sculpting. She could only be considered a half-step Tao sculpting. Please help me apply for a black card for the Quest Hall. The gray-clothed woman seemed to have inquired about the procedures of the mission hall. Once she entered the mission hall, she went straight to the place where the mission card was handled. Alright. May I know your identity? The cultivator in charge of handling the quest card in the quest hall asked politely. Everyone knew that there were no requirements for this identity. You could report your sect, your rogue cultivator, or even a code name. Rogue cultivator, Lan Shu. The gray-robed woman spoke in a clear voice, before taking out 1,000 spirit crystals and handing them over. Okay, please wait a moment. The cultivator handling the assignment card, in just a few breaths of time, engraved a rogue cultivator Lan Shu's black assignment card, and simultaneously handed the black assignment card to the gray-robed woman called Lan Shu. Tao friend Lan, you can now go and accept the assignment. When your points reach 100,000, you can exchange for a white card. Many thanks. Lan Shu put away the quest card, as she turned around and walked towards the quest hall's array formation screen to carefully look at it. Tao friend Lan, do you also want to go to the Grand Essence Ruins Burial Shadow Blue Sand? Why don't we team up and go? Many treasures have appeared in the Blue Shadow Burial Sands recently. Lan Shu had just arrived in front of the assignments hall's array formation display when a man came over and asked in a very enthusiastic manner. Lan Shu shook her head and spoke. Thank you, I do not intend to go anywhere, I just want to look around. Finished speaking, Lan Shu turned around and walked away. She hadn't reached Tao sculpting yet, but she could sense that the man in front of her was much stronger than her. He had probably reached the primordial Tao realm. It doesn't matter. I think it's fate that brought us together. The man didn't seem to mind at all and continued to speak enthusiastically. Lan Shu stopped as she stared at the man's face that was covered with a Tao scar imprint because of his cultivation, as her complexion turned cold and she spoke, "We do not know each other, please step aside. Friends go from not knowing each other to getting to know each other." The man with a cultivation mark on his face was not discouraged at all. He already said that he doesn't know you. Don't you have any shame? Another voice sounded, this time with a tone of ridicule. Following this mocking voice, a man in red walked over. This man in red had a powerful aura around him. Apparently, his strength was not any weaker than the man with the Dao scar imprint on his face. The man with the Dao scar imprint on his face immediately turned cold. "Who are you? You dare to meddle in my affairs." After that, he did not wait for the other party to answer and took the initiative to speak again. "I don't need you to ask me who I am. I will just tell you directly, my name is Qi Lin." "Who's Qi Lin? Do any of you know, ha?" The man in red laughed loudly. After his laughter, several people followed suit. Who is Qi Lin? No one had heard of him. Qi Lin gave a cold snort and spoke. "My reputation naturally can't compare to my uncle. It doesn't matter if you have not heard of me." "Then who is your uncle?" The man in red still spoke with disdain. "My uncle is not anyone. He is called Qi Qingshui." Qi Lin spoke with a faint voice. The man in red laughed again. "Qi Qingshui, I still don't know." The man in red did not continue laughing this time. After speaking a few words, he suddenly paused. "Qi Qingshui was ranked 3rd in the mysterious Yellow Heavens Beyond Heaven's Great Tournament?" Qi Lin said proudly, "That's right, my uncle is indeed someone you don't like. Since you have such sharp eyes, you must have an extraordinary background. May I know your name, Taoist? I can also report to my uncle." Upon hearing this, the man in red did not even think of speaking. He turned around and squeezed into the crowd, disappearing instantly. There were probably very few people here who did not know who Qi Qingshui was. During the mysterious Yellow Heavens Beyond Heaven's Great Tournament, Dao Lord Ningcheng of the Great Simplicity Realm had obtained one of the best territories. Dao Lord Ningcheng was also a respected existence in the entire Great Simplicity Realm. He was an unreachable expert in the eyes of ordinary people. Qi Qingshui, who had been able to compete with Ning Cheng and ranked 3rd in the mysterious Yellow Heavens Beyond Heaven, had naturally risen in status. Even if Ning Cheng had not participated in the mysterious Yellow Heavens Beyond Heaven, he could not erase Qi Qingshui's strength in blacksmithing. Qi Qingshui had also become famous after one battle. If one wanted to ask him to blacksmith in mysterious Yellow Heavens Beyond, he would not do it without sufficient sincerity. Even if one was sincere enough, one would still need to have a favor to recommend him before he would help. This showed how high Qi Qingshui's status in mysterious Yellow Heavens Beyond was. Now that Qi Lin said that Qi Qingshui was his uncle, who would dare to offend Qi Lin? One could be sure that Qi Lin had come to the Great Simplicity Realm because of Qi Qingshui. Glancing at the fleeing man in red with disdain, Qi Lin once again said to Lan Shu in a pleasant tone, "Taoist Lan, when we go to mysterious Yellow Heavens Beyond in the future, I will ask my uncle to help you refine a handy magic weapon." As soon as Qi Lin said this, many people around him showed envy in their eyes. Who would not want a magic weapon refined by Qi Qingshui? Some people even dreamed of a magic weapon refined by Qi Qingshui. This time, Lan Shu did not even bother to reply. She just turned around and left. It was best to ignore people like Qi Lin. Qi Lin followed without hesitation. "In that case, let's go. I don't know you. Let's go our separate ways." After Lan Shu finished speaking, she turned around and changed direction again. Qi Qingshui once again followed and even used his hand to stop Lan Shu. Lan Shu's face turned cold. "Get out of the way. If you continue to be so rude, I will call for help." Qi Lin spoke up softly. "Why bother? There are a lot of people here, and the burial Shadow Blue Sand has a lot of treasures. If we work together, we will definitely gain a lot. Get lost." Lan Shu had an extremely unyielding temperament. She had been enduring it until now. Qi Lin's face turned cold. A junior insulting a senior. Do you know how to deal with it under the laws of the Grand Simplicity Realm? Lan Shu didn't know anything about the laws of the Grand Simplicity Realm. She just took a step back and held her waist with her left hand. The long sword on her back was just for decoration. Many female cultivators carried a long sword on their back. Her real magic weapon wasn't this long sword but in her ring. At this moment, Lan Shu was ready to take action at any time. Qi Lin laughed on seeing this. It's the first time I've seen someone dare to take the initiative to attack a senior in the Grand Essence Quest public square. After saying this, Qi Lin cupped his fists towards the depths of the quest hall and said, Deacon Huang, I didn't do anything or insult her. But this junior took the initiative to attack me. Can I take her away? A slightly shrill voice came over. Yes, you can take her away. But you must not harm her life. Everyone understood the meaning of this sentence. Qi Lin's smile faded and he spoke up with a cautious expression. Deacon Huang, rest assured. I just want to take her away to apologize. I will never harm her life. Lan Shu wanted to bring out a weapon, but unfortunately, the gap between her and Qi Lin's strength was too big. Qi Lin's domain bound her, and she couldn't even move a muscle. If you dare to touch me, my younger brother will definitely avenge me. Lan Shu screamed. Even if she had to die, she wouldn't let this person ruin her innocence. Qi Lin laughed again. Will your younger brother do anything to me? Let him come. I want to see how he plans on doing anything to me. She's right. If you dare to touch even a strand of her hair, not to mention a wild dog like you, Qi Lin, even your clan uncle Qi Qingshui, or even the 3 Essence Tool sacred sect wouldn't be able to bear the anger of her younger brother. Another cold voice rang out, followed by a woman in a white dress. This woman looked like a celestial fairy, as if she had walked out of a painting. Although she wasn't as beautiful as Lan Shu, she knew how to package herself better than Lan Shu. Chapter 1474. Qi Lin's eyes lit up. This woman wasn't any weaker than the gray-robed woman in front of him, and she even knew how to dress up. Wearing a white robe, she looked even more elegant and fairy-like. It gave people a feeling that they could only look at her from afar. Once they got close, it would be blasphemy. Who are you? While looking at the woman in the white robe, Qi Lin asked. After asking this question, Qi Lin felt that something was wrong. This woman's cultivation should be higher than his. Otherwise, why did she look a bit blurry? May I ask for this Dao friend's name? Qi Lin immediately changed his attitude and politely cupped his fists. Many of the surrounding cultivators quietly retreated after seeing the woman in the white robe. Apparently, they felt afraid of this woman in the white robe. You're not qualified to ask me. The woman in the white robe spoke up coldly. After speaking, she no longer looked at Qi Lin and turned towards Lan Shu. Master Shu. The cold expression on the woman in the white robe finally faded, and a soft smile appeared on her face. Rushue, why are you? Lan Shu looked at the woman in front of her in amazement. She didn't expect Nalan Rushue to appear in this place. Not only that, but Nalan Rushue seemed to be much stronger than her. Back in Le Continent, Nalan Rushue's strength was far inferior to hers. But now, her strength was far inferior to Nalan Rushue's. Life's circumstances were truly unpredictable. Lan Shu had always thought that her cultivation progress was fast, and she also had good opportunities. That's why she managed to break through the eternal realm in just 100,000 years and take a half step into the Dao sculpting realm. Nalan Rushue's cultivation was clearly much higher than hers. Master Shu, I didn't expect to see you here. It's really unbelievable. Nalan Rushue spoke with a sigh, her eyes recalling the Master Shu that no one dared to approach. But now, Lan Shu's strength was much lower than hers. Rushue, what's your cultivation? Lan Shu couldn't see through Nalan Rushue's strength at all. She could only feel the majestic aura coming from her. Nalan Rushue didn't hide it. Because I obtained some opportunities in the Grand Essence Ruins, I'm already at the Full Circle Dao Fusion realm. I'm about to leave the Grand Essence Ruins to prepare for Dao unification. Lan Shu's eyes showed a slight unnaturalness. In this world where strength reigned supreme, she didn't know how to address Nalan Rushue. If she called her Rushue, it would be a bit inappropriate. If she didn't call her Rushue, she would feel awkward calling her senior. Nalan Rushue seemed to have noticed Lan Shu's uneasiness and quickly spoke up. Elder Sister Shu, I plan to go to another world to re-establish the Defying Ice sect. Would you like to come with me? Lan Shu looked at Nalan Rushue in doubt. Isn't the Grand Essence realm good? Why do you want to go to another realm? Nalan Rushue hesitated for a while but didn't explain the real reason. Instead, she said, the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws are still a bit broken. I want to go to a more complete place. I heard that the Grand Change Realm's laws are more complete than before. Lan Shu did not directly answer Nalan Rushue's words, and once again asked, do you have any news about Ningcheng? Nalan Rushue nodded, I know. In fact, even if you ask a random person, the other party would also know who Ningcheng is. He was the one who established the Taisu Palace, and the order here was set by him. In the Grand Essence Realm, Ning City isn't just a name, but a symbol. At this point, Nalan Rushue sighed inwardly. She didn't want to stay in the Grand Essence Realm because of Ningcheng. But if she went to the Grand Change Realm, would she be able to leave Ningcheng's territory? She had been to the Grand Change Realm before, and just like the Grand Essence Realm, Ningcheng's name was also a symbol. Unfortunately, her strength was still too weak. Before reaching Dao unification, she didn't have many choices. Lan Shu's eyes flashed with surprise. Within the 4 grand starry skies, Ningcheng was a legend. She didn't expect that Ningcheng would still be so famous after coming to the Grand Essence Realm. Lan Shu really didn't read the wrong person. Pearls would always shine. Nalan Rushue saw the surprise in Lan Shu's eyes and sighed in her heart. Elder Sister Shu, if you also liked Ningcheng, I'm afraid you would end up like me. Thinking of this, Nalan Rushue suddenly felt a little jealous of Yanji. Back then, she and Yanji were Le Continent's twin lotus flowers, and they both had the same beauty. Why did Ningcheng choose Yanji and not her, Nalan Rushue? Back in the Grand Essence Ruins, she had taken the initiative to embrace Ningcheng and court him, but Ningcheng still rejected her so cruelly. But that was in a world of ice and snow. How many women could court a man they liked in a world of ice and snow like her? How could she not do it? How was Yanji better than her? When it came to skin, she was even better than Yanji. But today, Yanji could accompany Ningcheng, while she, Nalan Rushue, could only stay away from the Grand Essence Realm. Lan Shu looked at the unwillingness and anger in Nalan Rushue's eyes and asked in doubt, Rushue? What's the matter? Rushue no longer called out as naturally as before. Nalan Rushue had changed too much. If it were in the past, facing Qi Lin, who was weaker than her, she would have already taken action. Nalan Rushue recovered, and the jealousy in her eyes disappeared. She spoke up with a lonely voice, Elder Sister Shu, if possible, I suggest you leave this place with me. Don't like him? Lan Shu frowned slightly. Rushue, what nonsense are you talking about? Ningcheng is just like a younger brother in my eyes. Speaking of Ningcheng, Lan Shu's heart calmed down. Ningcheng's strength should be far stronger than hers, but when she addressed Ningcheng directly, she didn't feel so awkward and felt that it was normal. I'm sorry, Elder Sister Shu. Because I like Ningcheng so. Nalan Rushue's eyes dimmed, and her tone became even more depressed. Calling her Elder Sister Shu, compared to calling her Master Shu, made Lan Shu feel a bit closer. Even the awkwardness in front of Nalan Rushue also reduced by a lot. Lan Shu pulled Nalan Rushue, Rushue, let's find a place to sit down and talk. Nalan Rushue saw that there were too many people around. She quickly nodded and walked out of the quest hall with Lan Shu. Qi Lin, who was watching Lan Shu and Nalan Rushue leave, did not dare to find trouble with Nalan Rushue. He could see that Nalan Rushue had a good reputation here. Moreover, Nalan Rushue's strength was much stronger than his. Elder Sister Shu, although I don't fear that Qi Lin, I can't do anything to him. His uncle Qi Qingshui's name is indeed very big enough to affect many of the powerhouses in the mysterious yellow heavens beyond. Nalan Rushue walked into a rest stop with Lan Shu and spoke. Lan Shu felt even more puzzled, but she did not ask Nalan Rushue. Nalan Rushue didn't wait for Lan Shu to ask and explained that Qi Qingshui only participated in the mysterious yellow heavens beyond great tournament with elder brother Ningcheng and got 3rd place. Yet he is already so famous. Elder Sister Shu, you can imagine the prestige and reputation of Ningcheng, who established the Grand Essence Dao Court and won the 1st place in the mysterious yellow heavens beyond great tournament. Don't look at Qi Lin's arrogance. If elder brother Ning came, I'm afraid he wouldn't even dare to make a sound. In that case, even if you touch that Qi Lin, it wouldn't matter, right? Lan Shu finally asked. Nalan Rushue's eyes once again showed that lonely bitterness. Ning Cheng might have already forgotten about me. Besides, he rarely appears. Even if Qi Chengshui ordered people to kill me, Nalan Rushue, he might not even know about it. Qi Chengshui himself is a powerhouse who recently stepped into the third step. He could just call anyone to kill me. Lan Shu felt a little unhappy. She felt that Ning Cheng wasn't such a person. Nalan Rushue didn't seem to care about Lan Shu's unhappiness and continued. That year, Yan Ji and I suffered at the same time. As a result, we found the teleportation array to the Grand Essence Realm. I gave up the opportunity to go to the Grand Essence Ruins to Yan Ji. Later, I went to the Border Essence Sea to survive. But I didn't expect to see Ning Cheng there. Nalan Rushue's eyes turned fiery. Elder Sister Shu, did you know? The moment I saw Ning Cheng, I felt an impulse in my heart. But Ning Cheng's calm attitude made me feel as if a bucket of cold water had been poured over my heart. Later, he took me to the Grand Essence Ruins. He took me to the Defying Ice Mound. In the land of ice and snow, I begged him to make love. At that time, as long as he wanted, I would never leave him. But he rejected me. I hated his indifference, and I couldn't continue to be with him anymore. I took my inheritance and left him. I never saw him again after that. At this point, Nalan Rushue grew even more excited, and her hands trembled. Elder Sister Shu, you know Yan Ji. She's the same as me. What's better than me? Why does Ning Cheng like her and not me? I hid alone in the world of ice and snow to cultivate, while Yan Ji followed him. Looking at Nalan Rushue getting more and more excited, it seemed that if she didn't vent her inner unwillingness, she would find it hard to control herself. Lan Shu also sighed and interrupted Nalan Rushue's words. Rushue, although I don't know what happened between you two later, but do you know who I would choose if I had to choose? Who? Nalan Rushue finally recovered, but still couldn't help but ask. Lan Shu didn't answer directly, but said, I heard that in the Lu Continent's Law's Way, you wanted to connive with others to kill Ning Cheng, who had low cultivation. It was Yan Ji who stood up and stopped them. But Elder Sister Shu, at that time, I didn't know Ning Cheng at all. Moreover, there was a misunderstanding between the two sides. How can this be mixed up? Nalan Rushue quickly explained. Lan Shu shook her head. Ning Cheng saved you, but you misunderstood him. Ning Cheng did not do anything to Yan Ji, but Yan Ji still stood up and helped him. This is just a reflection of something else. I understand Ning Cheng's temperament. He is a sentimental person. This has nothing to do with misunderstandings. Nalan Rushue turned silent. She understood the meaning of Lan Shu's words. In other words, if she and Yan Ji were to exchange places, Yan Ji would not misunderstand Ning Cheng. Lan Shu continued, this is just a small matter. I heard that in the Blood River Mountains of the Law's Way, Ning Cheng saved them but did not come out. Yan Ji did not hesitate to jump in, just to look for Ning Cheng. Moreover, when Yan Ji came out of the Law's Way, her mind was not clear. But when her big sister wanted to make a move on Ning Cheng, she just said a few words, whoever makes a move on him, I will kill them. Chapter 1475. Lan Rushue remained silent. She knew all this, but in her opinion, it didn't matter. If she had liked Ning Cheng at that time, she would have done the same. Seeing Nalan Rushue silent, Lan Shu spoke up, if it were me, I would also choose Yan Ji. Lan Shu always spoke straightforwardly. At this time, she didn't even consider Nalan Rushue's strength. Feeling that her words were too direct, Lan Shu asked again, Rushue, do you know where Ning Cheng is now? In the Grand Essence Realm? Nalan Rushue shook her head. I heard that he left the Grand Essence Realm. No one knows where he is. Lan Shu felt surprised and was about to speak when a voice that almost repeated Lan Shu's words interrupted her. If it were me, I would also choose Yan Ji. Nalan Rushue suddenly stood up. Who is it? She was a Dao fusion powerhouse and about to step into Dao integration. How could she not know that someone had come to their booth? Naylan Rushue immediately understood that this person was not in her booth, but rather outside her booth. Although she had set up a soundproof restriction, the person who could hear her through the soundproof restriction was definitely an expert stronger than her. Naylan Rushue greets Senior. I wonder what Senior wants to ask. Naylan Rushue quickly cupped her fists. The restriction on the booth's door opened automatically, and a woman stood at the door. She couldn't tell her age, but she seemed old and young at the same time. As for her appearance, she could only be described as ordinary. My name is Shi Iching. The woman smiled slightly and walked in. It turns out to be Senior Shi from the 9 Revolutions Sacred Tao Pond. Naylan has neglected you. Naylan Rushue bowed again. Don't look at her as a Tao fusion cultivator, only one level lower than Shi Iching's Tao integration realm. Every cultivator knew how difficult it was to surpass this level. What's more, Shi Iching was the strongest person in the 9 Revolutions Sacred Tao Pond. The 9 Revolutions Sacred Tao Pond was one of the 3 sacred sects in the Grand Essence realm. Since Zi Qiu didn't appear in the Grand Essence Tao court, Shi Iching could be said to be one of the few people standing at the top of the Grand Essence realm. Shi Iching nodded. It looks like the inheritance you got is quite impressive. You have ice-attributed Tao charm flowing around you. Your future achievements will far surpass mine. Let's call each other Tao friends. Yes, Taoist friend Iching. Naylan Rushue didn't say much and directly changed the way she addressed Shi Iching. It wasn't that she wanted to show off, but rather that she represented the future ruler of the Defying Ice Mound. Before the battle in the Grand Essence realm, the Defying Ice Mound had a much longer history than the 9 revolving Sacred Tao Pond. If she addressed Shi Iching as Senior, it would indeed lower the Defying Ice Mound's reputation. I was just next door and heard your conversation, so I came in. Both of you are old friends of Tao Lord Ning, and Tao Lord Ning is someone I respect. Please forgive me if I've offended you. Shi Iching cupped her fists towards the void. Lan Shu felt even more excited. Shi Iching's strength clearly surpassed Naylan Rushue's. Most likely, she was one of the strongest people in the Grand Essence realm. Even Shi Iching respected Ning Cheng so much, which showed how much Ning Cheng had done in the Grand Essence realm. It wasn't difficult to achieve great things, but it was difficult to make other experts respect him from the bottom of their hearts. Naylan Rushue quickly replied, No. I heard you say that you're looking for a place to fuse with the Tao. Shi Iching suddenly changed the topic. Naylan Rushue replied, Yes, I'm indeed looking for a place to fuse with the Tao. It's just that I haven't found a good place, so I'm planning to go to the Grand Simplicity realm first. Shi Iching said with a straight face, I just came back from the heavens beyond of mysterious yellow. I wonder if you've heard of the chaotic inner realm? Naylan Rushue nodded. I've also been to the heavens beyond of mysterious yellow and heard of the chaotic inner realm. I heard that many experts opened the chaotic inner realm tens of thousands of years ago, and many people obtained supreme resources from it. Shi Iching sighed. Back then, I tried to fuse with the chaotic inner realm because of the incomplete laws. Not only did it reduce my strength, but it also made it difficult for me to make any progress. Tao friend Rushue, I suggest you go to the chaotic inner realm and have a look. If you can fuse with the chaotic inner realm or even reach the 3rd step, I'm afraid your future will be limitless. Naylan Rushue shook her head with some disappointment. With my strength, I'm afraid it's not realistic to go to the chaotic inner realm. Shi Iching showed a faint smile. If it were before, it wouldn't be unrealistic for you to go there. It would be impossible. But now, even some primordial Tao cultivators can enter the chaotic void and find the chaotic inner realm, let alone you. After saying that, Shi Iching did not wait for Naylan Rushue to ask. Instead, she continued to explain, the chaotic inner realm was broken. The most primitive chaotic aura dissipated and the laws of the chaotic void weakened. As a result, under the combined attacks of so many experts, a gap was completely opened up. You mean anyone can enter the chaotic inner realm now? Naylan Rushue's voice trembled. She was too excited. As a primordial chaos expert who had been to the heavens beyond of mysterious yellow, She had naturally heard about the power of Tao validation in the chaotic inner realm. The experts who had reached Tao validation in the chaotic inner realm were all famous big shots. Fate, stars, chaos, karma. These Tao lords could make the vast universe tremble with a casual stomp of their feet. These experts all had one thing in common, which was that they had all reached the third step in the chaotic inner realm. Shi Yiqing answered with a lonely face, "You're right. Everyone can go in now." The reason why she was lonely was that even if she went to the chaotic inner realm, she would not be able to go further. She had not even fused with the pseudo-Tao. Back then, she had already been a powerful existence, but now, she could barely survive in the void. Taoist Yiqing, please guide me. I will go to the chaotic inner realm first. Nailan Rushue bowed again. Shi Yiqing waved her hand, indicating that Nailan Rushue did not need to be so polite. Then she said, "First of all, I can only tell you that most people enter the chaotic void. I have a locale ball for the chaotic void, but whether you can find the chaotic inner realm depends on your providence. Secondly, even if you find the chaotic inner realm, the current chaotic inner realm cannot be compared to when it was first broken." Immediately, Shi Yiqing took out 2 locale balls and quickly made a copy for Nailan Rushue. "Taoist Rushue, this is the locale ball to the chaotic void. Given your strength, I'm afraid it will take you tens of thousands of years to reach it. Unless you reach the Tao integration realm halfway? Thank you, Taoist Yiqing." Nailan Rushue grabbed the locale ball without hesitation and swept it with her spiritual consciousness. At the same time, she thanked Shi Yiqing. After a while, she spoke up again, "Taoist Yiqing, I want to go to the chaotic void now. I don't care even if it takes me 100,000 years." Nailan Rushue then said to Lan Shu, "Elder Sister Shu, I'm going to the chaotic void. Let's meet again in the future." Lan Shu stood up and said, "Congratulations on finally realizing your dream and reaching the third step in the chaotic inner realm." "Many thanks." Nailan Rushue couldn't stay any longer. She hurriedly said goodbye and disappeared in a flash. Lan Shu then bowed to Shi Yiqing, "Senior Shi, the chaotic inner realm has so many treasures. Ning Cheng will definitely go there. I don't know if Senior knows if Ning Cheng has gone to the chaotic inner realm, or if you've heard of his whereabouts." Shi Yiqing didn't answer Lan Shu directly. Instead, she looked at Nailan Rushue's empty seat and shook her head. "You're right. She's not suitable for Ning Cheng. Both you and Yan Ji are suitable for Ning Cheng." Yan Ji went to the 9 revolving sacred Tao pond for Ning Cheng and risked her life to cultivate. Alas! Shi Yiqing gave out a sigh. Nailan Rushue had obtained the positional ball of the chaotic void and didn't even ask about Ning Cheng's safety or whereabouts. Yet she kept saying that she liked Ning Cheng. Most likely she liked Ning Cheng's strength, right? Lan Shu couldn't care less about the loopholes in Shi Yiqing's words and asked eagerly, "Senior, did Ning Cheng go to the chaotic inner realm?" Shi Yiqing nodded. "He went there." Not only did he go there, but he also suffered serious injuries in the chaotic inner realm. I heard that his injuries were so severe that even an ordinary starry sky cultivator could kill him. Lan Shu's eyes showed anxiety. Unfortunately, she couldn't help even a little bit. Shi Yiqing comforted her, "You don't have to worry. The moment Ning Cheng suffered serious injuries, he tore open the chaotic inner realm's void and disappeared. There hasn't been any news about him for so many years. Presumably, nothing bad happened to him." "Senior, can you give me a copy of the positional ball of the chaotic void?" Lan Shu held back the anxiety in her heart and spoke with a respectful tone. Shi Yiqing shook her head. "It's not a big deal to give you the positional ball. But with your strength, I'm afraid that you wouldn't be able to reach the chaotic void even after 10 million years." Lan Shu still spoke with a firm voice. "I ask Senior to help me. Without Ning Cheng, she, Lan Shu, would have already died. She would have even suffered humiliation before her death. Not only that, but Ning Cheng also brought back the only relic of Yu Qin for her, the golden buckle." Chapter 1476. Shi Yiqing once again made a copy of the directional ball and handed it to Lan Shu before saying, "If you see Ning Qing one day, please help me pass a message to him." After Qianghua entered the Grand Change Realms, severing emotions samsara Dao, she never came out. "Qianghua? It's Ning Cheng's?" Lan Shu took the directional ball and did not have the time to thank him, as she asked in amazement. After she arrived at the Tian continent, Ning Cheng had already left the graceful star mainland. Although she had never met Shi Qianghua, she had heard about Ning Cheng and Shi Qianghua. "Yes, Qianghua is a disciple of my 9 revolving sacred Dao pond. Just like you, she's a person of Ning Cheng," Shi Yiqing explained. "Senior, Ning Cheng and I aren't that kind of." Shi Yiqing waved her hand and interrupted Lan Shu's words. She then took out a sword talisman and handed it to Lan Shu. "Although my strength isn't too bad in the Grand Essence realm, if I go to the vast void, my strength would be nothing more than a firefly. This sword talisman doesn't belong to me. It's just a protective treasure that I obtained by chance. Since you're looking for Ning Cheng, I'll give it to you as a little more protection." "Many thanks, Senior." Lan Shu quickly put it away and thanked her with a bow. She couldn't be polite about it. Going to the void to look for the severely injured Ning Cheng was already a matter of life and death. If she had a sword talisman to protect her life, she would be a lot safer. Dao Lord Ning's immortal cave is in the Grand Essence Mountain, which has now been renamed to the Mysterious Yellow Sect. If you need help, you can go to the Mysterious Yellow Sect. Shi Yiqing seemed to like Lan Shu a lot and once again gave Lan Shu some pointers. Lan Shu didn't want to go to the Mysterious Yellow Sect. She and Ning Cheng were friends, but she didn't know anyone else in the Mysterious Yellow Sect. Although Shi Yiqing's cultivation couldn't progress even an inch, her vision was definitely top-notch. She only needed a glance at Lan Shu to know that Lan Shu had no intention of going to the Mysterious Yellow Sect. Thinking of Lan Shu's low strength, she sighed. If she didn't improve Lan Shu's strength and left the Grand Essence realm to look for the chaotic void, she feared that it would only bode ill for her. "Lan Shu, do you know the burial Shadow Blue Sands?" Shi Yiqing suddenly asked. Lan Shu nodded. "I know. I heard that it is one of the most dangerous places in the Grand Essence ruins. I heard that the burial shadow fiends are from the mysterious of the burial shadow domain. Does Senior think that I can enter the blue burial shadow sand?" Previously, when Lin Yun had said that he wanted her to form a team to go to the buried Shadow Blue Sands, Lan Shu naturally knew about this place. Shi Yiqing smiled faintly. "If you entered the burial Shadow Blue Sand with your previous strength, you would be courting death." The burial Shadow Blue Sand is one of the Grand Essence ruins' forbidden areas. Even with my cultivation, I wouldn't enter it easily. But now is indeed a good time to enter the burial Shadow Blue Sand. "Why?" Lan Shu asked in doubt. Shi Yiqing explained, "You know that Dao Lord Ning went to the burial Shadow Blue Sand to look for his friend Qi Shizingsing. However, he ended up being stopped outside the burial Shadow Blue Sand. Dao Lord Ning flew into a rage and brought millions of Dao court troops to besiege the blue burial Shadow Sand. At the same time, he activated the Devouring Grand Array to completely erase the blue burial Shadow Sand from the Grand Essence ruins. At first, the existence within the blue sand of burying shadows had fought against Dao Lord Ning, but after Dao Lord Ning had devoured nearly half of the blue sand of burying shadows, the burial shadow fiend panicked. He had taken the initiative to ask Dao Lord Ning for peace, and had even given Dao Lord Ning's friend away. But Dao Lord Ning took into account that he wasn't that strong at that time and let go of the blue sand of burying shadows. I originally guessed that Dao Lord Ning would come back to erase the blue sand of burying shadows after he reached the Grand Essence realm. But I never expected that Dao Lord Ning would never return after leaving the Grand Essence realm. Hearing about Ning Cheng's heroism in the past, Lan Shu felt proud of Ning Cheng. But then she thought that Ning Cheng might be in the void with severe injuries, which made Lan Shu even more anxious. Shi Yiqing could see Lan Shu's anxiety and took the initiative to comfort her. After so many years, if something happened to Dao Lord Ning, it wouldn't matter how anxious you are. With your cultivation, even if you have the directional ball I gave you, it's not realistic to go to the chaotic void. I hope that you can go to the blue sand of burying shadows first and improve your strength before going to the chaotic void. But senior, Lan Shu didn't understand Shi Yiqing's meaning at all. Shi Yiqing smiled, because after the chaotic inner realm opened, the strongest burial shadow fiend in the blue sand of burying shadows left the grand essence realm. He went to the chaotic inner realm. Therefore, although the blue sand of burying shadows is dangerous, it's not as dangerous as before. But there are many treasures in there. If you can get some treasures in the blue sand of burying shadows and successfully reach the Tao sculpting realm, you can go to the chaotic void. At that time, your chances of survival would greatly increase. Lan Shu immediately bowed and said, "Many thanks for Senior's reminder. This junior will prepare to head to the Grand Essence ruins." Sharpening a knife wouldn't delay chopping firewood. Lan Shu understood it very well. "Do you want me to go with you?" Shi Yiqing asked again. Lan Shu shook her head. "This junior can go alone. Senior can accompany me once, but you can't accompany me for the rest of my life." Shi Yiqing nodded with satisfaction. If Lan Shu agreed to let her accompany her, she would have been very disappointed. Because Lan Shu wouldn't be able to find Ningqing even if she went to the void in the future. "Then I wish you good luck. I'll be leaving first." After Shi Yiqing finished, she took a step forward and disappeared without a trace. Lan Shu bowed again before looking at the seat where Nalan Rushua had sat and shook her head. "You really aren't suitable for Ningqing." Blue sand of burying shadows. It was one of the most terrifying forbidden areas in the Grand Essence ruins. It was said that only a few people could come out alive after entering. But because there were too many treasures in the blue sand of burying shadows, many people still entered without fear of death. Lan Shu stood outside the blue sand of burying shadows and looked at the rolling blue sand in the sky. She took a deep breath and then rushed into the blue sand of burying shadows without hesitation. If she wanted to improve her strength as soon as possible, she had to enter the blue sand of burying shadows. If it were before, with Lan Shu's strength, entering the blue sand of burying shadows would only result in death. However, Shi Yiqing didn't lie to Lan Shu. Once the most powerful burial shadow demon left the blue sand of burying shadows, the chances of coming out alive greatly increased. It even increased to more than 50%. As soon as Lan Shu entered the blue sand of burying shadows, the violent rolling blue sand immediately suppressed her spiritual consciousness. Before entering this place, Lan Shu had already prepared herself. Therefore, despite being suppressed by the endless blue sand, she still chose a direction and rushed forward regardless of anything else. This was something that Lan Shu had already planned before entering the blue sand of burying shadows. Too many people had entered the blue sand of burying shadows recently. Even if there were any good things in the periphery, they would have already been taken away by others. How could it be possible for her, Lan Shu? She intended to continue walking forward in this manner. After walking for thousands of years, she would eventually be able to find a place that no one had ever been to before. Maybe there were people who thought the same as her, but certainly not all of them would think the same way. Once she chose a direction that no one had ever come to before, she would have succeeded. After the location of the chaotic void was exposed, more and more people came to this place. Although there were a lot of people, but there were not many people who could find the chaotic inner realm of the chaotic void. Not everyone had the ability of the 10 Tao monarchs or the 5 sacred masters. Many people had wandered around the chaotic void for many years, but they still did not know the true location of the chaotic inner realm. There were even a lot of people who came in but found it difficult to find the exit. "Is this the chaotic void?" A woman holding a fly whisk asked in disbelief as she looked at the irregular space around her in confusion. Another woman beside this woman spoke up, "It's normal. The heaven and earth laws here are chaotic, and the God's spiritual chi is scattered everywhere. Moreover, the aura of broken laws is everywhere, which fits the characteristics of the chaotic void. Moreover, the void here is very condensed. I'm afraid that ordinary people would not be able to tear it apart. Kai Ji, I'm afraid that only a few people can cultivate to your level in the martial Tao. Do you think you can tear the void here with your bare hands?" The woman holding the horsetail whisk asked. The woman called Kaiji smiled. I can't tear it apart. But your fellow villager can easily tear it apart. The woman holding the horsetail whisk also chuckled. She had heard the word fellow villager from Kaiji. Xiaoshuang, tearing the void here is nothing. I heard that when the chaotic inner realm first opened, that man called Ningqing managed to tear apart the void of the chaotic inner realm despite being seriously injured by 4 peerless powerhouses. This is what it means to be truly powerful. When will I have this kind of ability? I feel that my martial Dao will be truly successful. Kaiji sighed. Chapter 1477. Master, it's here. Chasing Bull pointed to the boundless gray planet in front of the vast void and spoke with excitement. One couldn't blame it for being excited. In this void, the planet moved. After so many years, it was already a pleasant surprise that it could still find this planet. Ningcheng also saw this boundless planet and patted Chasing Bull's head. Not bad. It looks like you've made some progress. You can even remember this kind of thing. Chasing Bull got its master's praise and excitedly stopped the starry sky wheel on the surface of the planet. When Chasing Bull controlled the starry sky wheel to land on the planet, Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness swept out and felt shocked. Although he suffered heavy injuries and his sea of consciousness was damaged, his spiritual consciousness still remained strong. Yet, even with such a powerful spiritual consciousness, he couldn't sweep the entire planet. The only thing he could sense was that this planet was vast and uninhabited. Not only was there no people, but there was also no water, no living creatures. There was only a piece of hard gray rock. Chasing Bull, this is a good place. I'm afraid it will take many years for me to integrate the primordial Dao charm here. Moreover, there might even be some big movements during this process. You're too weak. You should enter the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate now and try to step into the Dao transformation realm after I integrate the primordial Dao charm. Ningcheng said with a solemn tone. Chasing Bull could tell that its master wasn't joking this time but was really serious. Even if it didn't want to cultivate, it had to agree. Master, rest assured. I will definitely cultivate in the mysterious yellow bead. Ningcheng nodded. If you can step into the Dao essence realm after I complete the integration of the primordial Dao charm, I will allow you to wander around the heavens beyond mysterious yellow alone. If you can reach the Dao transformation realm, I will allow you to follow me without entering the mysterious yellow bead. Otherwise, you can stay in the mysterious yellow bead and cultivate slowly. Chasing Bull nodded dispiritedly. Yes, master. After sending Chasing Bull into the mysterious yellow bead, Ningqing didn't even arrange a spirit gathering array. He had yet to recover from his injuries, so even if he arranged a spirit gathering array, he couldn't arrange a high-grade spirit gathering array. Furthermore, trying to gather any god's spiritual energy in this part of the void was simply a fool's dream. Ningqing didn't care. He didn't want rich spiritual qi for cultivation. What he wanted was to integrate the primordial Dao charm. As long as he could sense that trace of spirituality from the creation of the world through the primordial Dao runes, he might be able to improve further. In this empty void, after Ningcheng put away the starry sky wheel and Chasing Bull entered the mysterious yellow bead, the area returned to its previous tranquility. On the huge gray planet, Ningcheng carefully grabbed the strand of primordial Dao charm and slowly opened a restriction around the primordial Dao charm. His consciousness then seeped into it. A vast aura that transcended the ancient times permeated into Ningcheng's consciousness in a flash. At this moment, Ningcheng felt the birth of primal chaos and the will of a powerhouse that transcended everything. Just when Ningcheng wanted to continue comprehending the primordial Dao charm, the primordial Dao charm suddenly erupted with endless primordial chaos universe origin. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, snow, light, darkness, void, life and death, movement. As long as the origin existed in the vast universe, it would suddenly burst out from this primordial Dao charm. At this moment, Ningcheng felt as if he was stuck in front of the door of a burning gunpowder warehouse. It was torturous and unbearable. It felt as if the gunpowder warehouse would explode into pieces at any time. Ning Cheng's heart sank into an icy valley. If the primordial chaos universe origin aura from the gray stone was like an egg hatching when he reached the third step, then this was the planet exploding. Ning Cheng stimulated the potential of his life to integrate, dissolve, and comprehend the primordial chaos universe origin aura, but it was still a drop in the bucket. He could imagine that it was only a matter of time before his entire body was blasted into pieces by this origin power. Ning Cheng couldn't help but feel a kind of sadness in his heart. Ever since he obtained the mysterious yellow bead, he had been cultivating like crazy. From the graceful star mainland to the vast starry sky, from the vast starry sky to the grand essence realm, from the grand essence realm to the heavens beyond heaven, and even to the light and dark universe. He had obtained too many opportunities along the way. Although he suffered heavy injuries this time, he still managed to grab a strand of primordial chaos Dao charm in the chaotic inner world. So what if he grabbed the primordial chaos Dao charm? Wouldn't he still fall under this primordial chaos Dao charm and be torn into pieces by the endless origin power? Normally, it would be difficult for him to obtain so much chaos origin power, but now he had obtained so much. If he had had so much origin power before, why would he need to look for the 5-element origin bead? Compared to the origin bead, this chaos origin power was pure. At this time, even if he wasn't injured, he wouldn't be able to resist the erosion of this origin power. In the end, he would be torn apart by this origin power and turn into the origin power of the vast universe together with the primordial chaos Dao charm. Perhaps after hundreds of millions of years, this vast void would turn into a world with vitality because of his fall today. After all, he had brought with him endless origin power. Only with this origin power could various heaven and earth laws and various life auras be derived. After an unknown amount of time, Ning Cheng finally reached his limit. Puff, blood chi burst out, and an origin power that Ning Cheng didn't have time to refine finally tore Ning Cheng's skin, bringing out a bloody mist. Just like a chain reaction with the first one, a second one followed. In just a few days, Ning Cheng's body had turned into a bloody mess. At this time, Ning Cheng had lost too much essence blood, and his face had turned bloodless. Although he was about to be torn apart by the primordial chaos Dao charm's endless chaos origin power, Ning Cheng still didn't give up and continued to contain the endless chaos origin power. In his mind, unless he fell or lost his consciousness completely, he wouldn't give up any chance of survival. As his body grew weaker and weaker, Ning Cheng finally felt a sense of vitality in the primordial chaos Dao charm. That is, he didn't need to fuse and refine the primordial chaos Dao charm anymore. As long as he integrated himself into the primordial chaos Dao charm, he would step into the supreme realm. It looked the same. One was to fuse with the primordial chaos Dao charm, and the other was to integrate himself into the primordial chaos Dao charm. However, Ning Cheng's consciousness told him that this was different. Refining and integrating the primordial chaos Dao charm was what he wanted to do, but integrating himself into it was an additional consciousness, not what he wanted. Even if Ning Cheng died, he would never become a great Dao machine. Once he integrated with the primordial chaos Dao charm, even if Ning Cheng lived, he would only become a great Dao machine. At that time, there would no longer be any emotions in his eyes, no joys and sorrows. There would only be the great Dao. This wasn't his Dao. His Dao first needed him to exist. If he didn't exist, then he wouldn't need this Dao. If he died, then so be it. As an earthling, he had lived for so long, seen so many things, and learned about the endless universe. Whether he lived or died, he was still Ning Cheng. Just like how he didn't cultivate avatars, he, Ning Cheng, was unique. No one or Dao could replace him, not even his avatars. Time passed slowly, and on this uninhabited gray planet, Ning Cheng finally lost consciousness. But he hadn't fallen yet. In his subconscious, there was still a powerful willpower. This willpower prevented everything from integrating himself into the great Dao. This willpower supported him, even if there was only one last second left. Perhaps Ning Cheng's willpower was too strong, Or perhaps the impact of the primordial chaos Dao charm's origin only stopped here. Under the impact of the primordial chaos Dao charm's origin, Ning Cheng's broken body finally fell into balance. This balance was the result of Ning Cheng's own willpower and the endless origin that gushed out of the primordial chaos Dao charm. Neither side could win. Ning Cheng's willpower couldn't refine the primordial chaos Dao charm and integrate it into his own great Dao. Moreover, the primordial chaos Dao charm couldn't destroy Ning Cheng's willpower and integrate Ning Cheng into the primordial chaos Dao charm. Everything came to a standstill. Every moment, the origin that Ning Cheng integrated with turned into Ning Cheng's vitality. Then, this vitality was washed away by the new primordial chaos Dao charm's origin, turning into a blood mist that sprayed out from Ning Cheng's wounds. Year after year, the blood mist around Ning Cheng's body never stopped, and it constantly dyed the hard rocks around him red. The blood-red colors spread out from Ning Cheng's body, and the range grew larger and larger. Chapter 1478. Maybe it was 1,000 years, maybe it was 10,000 years. Even Lan Shu herself did not know how long she had been wandering in the burial shadow blue sand. In these years, her cultivation had not advanced, but her strength had risen sharply. Shi Yiqing did not lie to her. She had encountered many dangers here, but she had never met a burial shadow demon like the rumors outside. If she really met a burial shadow demon, Lan Shu estimated that with her strength, she would die without a doubt. Lan Shu had already prepared herself for falling in the burial shadow blue sand. Although she was not the weakest among the people who entered the burial shadow blue sand, she was definitely one of the weakest. The blue sand whirlpool in the burial shadow blue sand, the blue sand evil spirit that had yet to form a burial shadow demon. Lan Shu had encountered all of these. Although she was almost forced to use up the sword talisman that Shi Yiqing had left for her several times, she eventually kept it. Although she did not fall, Lan Shu did not feel much joy. Over the years in the burial shadow blue sand, she had obtained some opportunities, such as some divine grasses and precious materials. It's just that these things were still far from what she wanted. What she wanted was to obtain some opportunities here, and then quickly improve her strength. No matter how bad it was, she had to succeed in her Dao sculpting. Unfortunately, there was only one choice to enter the burial shadow blue sand. With her strength, as long as she came in, wanting to go out again would be too difficult. Jiang Muru! A shrill cry came. Lan Shu's entire body felt like it was frozen in ice, completely sluggish in the middle of the blue sand. Was this a burial shadow demon? She had not encountered any danger for so many years, but this Jiang Muru cry made Lan Shu realize that she was still in the burial shadow blue sand. Here, the most terrifying thing was not the blue sand, nor was it the shielded spiritual consciousness, but the burial shadow demon. A burial shadow demon that could call out Jiang Muru. Even if it was a Dao Essence Holy Emperor, if they were unlucky, they would find it hard to escape. And what cultivation did she have? She had not even entered the Dao sculpting realm. The surrounding space turned violent. The most powerful blue sandstorm whirlpool that Lan Shu had seen before was not even 1% as powerful as this. An oppressive aura permeated into Lan Shu's mind, making Lan Shu feel as if she was suffocating. Lan Sha congealed into a huge shadow that rolled towards Lan Shu, but before it even got close to Lan Sha, the domain that surrounded Lan Sha was already torn to shreds. The only thing Lan Shu could do at this moment was to crush the sword talisman in her hand. This sword talisman was obtained by Shi Yiqing, but Shi Yiqing had never used it before. Originally, Shi Yiqing intended to give it to Lan Shu, and let Lan Shu enter the void to use it. Shi Yiqing wanted to give it to Lan to enter the sword. Lan Shu had just crushed the sword talisman, when a vast and boundless sword Dao aura rose up. This sword Dao aura, in just a twinkling of an eye, transformed into a long sword condensed from the Dao charm. The long sword stabbed out from Lan Shu's hand, and the raging sword Dao aura seemed to drive everything within the Grand Essence ruins. Catch a Lan Shu's sword Dao aura easily tore through the void of the Grand Essence ruins, and the violent sword Dao aura raged out. Lan, the sword to Shu to the sword. Lan the shadow the to no Tian. The not to shadow. Lan looked the burial Shu's killed, the Shan easily destroyed. Lan Shu stared at the burial shadow demon in front of her and murmured, "So powerful." But that wasn't all. As the sword Qi rampaged, the void-tearing aura grew stronger and stronger. In just a few breaths, the sword Qi tore open a huge void sword gate in front of Lan Shu. The Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws, under this sword, turned into paper paste. Outside the sword gate, Dao charms surrounded it like a whirlpool. A sword intent Dao charm beyond Lan Shu's understanding seeped out of this huge sword gate. It was vast and majestic, with a sense of vicissitudes and ancientness. Is this an inheritance sword talisman? Lan Shu instantly understood that the sword talisman Shi Yiqing gave her was an ancient inheritance sword talisman. Most likely, Shi Yiqing didn't know that this sword talisman was an inheritance sword talisman, which was why she gave it to her. After the sword talisman was activated, a void teleportation sword gate appeared. Lan Shu took a deep breath. She only hesitated for a moment before stepping into the void sword gate formed from the sword talisman's Dao charm without hesitation. The burial shadow blue sand indeed had many treasures. However, her cultivation was too low, and there were too many people here. Even if a treasure appeared, it wouldn't be Lan Shu's turn. She had wandered around here for thousands of years, yet she still couldn't find anything. Moreover, she was almost killed by the burial shadow blue sand. She might as well go to this inheritance sword gate and see if there were any new opportunities. Lan Shu had just stepped into the sword gate when she felt dizzy. At the same time, the sword gate disappeared from the burial shadow blue sand. Not knowing for how long, Lan Shu finally opened her eyes. When she saw everything around her, she rubbed her eyes, thinking that she was seeing things. At this moment, the space around her was filled with sword intents. It felt as if as long as she moved, all the sword intents would crazily descend and cut her into pieces. Lan Shu stood there for an entire day, before she took a step forward. Since she had already come here, if she had to die under these sword intents, then even if she didn't take a step forward and stood here for a lifetime, the sword intents around her would not weaken in the slightest. Just as Lan Shu's step landed, the surrounding sword intents suddenly opened up a passage. Lan Shu hurriedly sped up and walked through the passage. When she walked through a door at the end of the passage, she suddenly froze. Even if she was a fool, she knew where she was. This was a side of the world, a side of the real top-level world. The laws here were complete, even more powerful than the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws. In her spiritual consciousness, in addition to the endless top-level spiritual objects, there were only a few pet beasts that were kept in captivity. Lan Shu didn't dare to look inside. At this time, how could she not know that this world had a master? At this moment, Lan Shu was most worried about whether the master of this world had fallen or not. However, she guessed that most of them had fallen. Otherwise, why would they leave behind a sword talisman inheritance? Whether they had fallen or not, since she came here, she might as well go in and have a look. She already had the heart to die, so what else was there to be afraid of? Apart from the door that she had just passed through, the only residence that her spiritual consciousness could find in this place was a small thatched cottage. Lan Shu walked over and pushed open the door to the thatched cottage. Inside the thatched cottage, apart from a pale white long sword suspended in the middle, there was nothing else. The long sword exuded a kind of murderous aura that disdained the heavens and earth. This kind of aura gave Lan Shu a sense of incomparable self-confidence and power. It felt as if as long as she had this sword in her hand, she could split apart the entire universe. This was a peerless spirit sword. Even if she hadn't obtained this sword, Lan Shu already understood. She had gone to the vast universe to search for the chaotic void, which was exactly what she needed. With the low-leveled weapons on her, going out into the void to face those powerhouses was undoubtedly a pipe dream. Lan Shu stepped into the thatched cottage and raised her hand to grab the pale white long sword, when a sudden message appeared in Lan Shu's mind. As long as you hold this sword in your hand, you will definitely kill a person. Lan Shu suddenly froze. If she had to kill an enemy, then it would have been fine. But if she had to kill a person who had nothing to do with her, would she really have to kill him? Lan Shu quickly calmed down. How big was the vast universe? How old was it? She did not know how many hundreds of millions of years this sword had existed. Even if the person she wanted to kill was still here, she would not be able to recognize him. Since she had obtained the inheritance of this senior, then why couldn't she get rid of this senior's enemy? Thinking till here, Lan Shu suddenly spoke in a clear voice. If Lan Shu meets this person in the future and can kill this person, Lan Shu will definitely kill him. If Lan Shu is not his enemy, then there is nothing I can do. Lan Shu did not swear an oath, but what she said was from the bottom of her heart. In the vast void, there were hundreds of millions of cultivators. In this world where the strong were revered, it was inevitable that there would be two completely unrelated life and death enemies. Since she, Lan Shu, had chosen the path of cultivation, she could not avoid this kind of thing. Just as Lan Shu's voice fell, the white long sword suddenly fell into Lan Shu's hands. A vast and boundless aura surged out. Lan Shu felt that her whole person and the surrounding world had changed. She looked down at the sword hilt, which was engraved with two ancient characters, Yuan Tuesday. Chapter 1479. The Chaos Void was no longer the Chaos Void of the past, and the Chaos Inner Realm was no longer the Chaos Inner Realm. The Chaos Inner Realm had been bombarded into smithereens by waves of experts who had come in search of treasures. The Chaos Inner Realm, which had already been chaotic to begin with, was now even more lawless. Even the 10 Tao Lords and 5 Sacred Lords had been unable to tear the Chaos Inner Realm apart when they had joined forces. Now, a casual bombardment could tear a tear in the Chaos Inner Realm. The Chaos Inner Realm was so tough that it could only be considered an ordinary plane. Two women were chatting as they strolled through the Chaos Inner Realm. Xiaoshuang, we came too late. Even if there was anything good here, it would have been taken away by those who came before us. After so many years, I've only obtained a fragment of a Chaos Gem. Kai Ji, you should be satisfied. Do you know how precious a Chaos Gem fragment is? I have never seen such a treasure since I entered the 33 skies. You're different. You're a monk and everything else is meaningless. I get jealous whenever I see something good. You're a monk. Who told you that holding a horsetail whisk makes you a monk? The woman called Kai Ji suddenly looked at the woman holding the horsetail whisk in surprise. Xiaoshuang, so you're thinking of a man. Is he from my hometown? According to the usual procedure, the woman called Xiaoshuang would definitely ignore Kai Ji. However, Xiaoshuang sighed today. I'm not fated with him. That's what my master said later on. What about you? You're probably thinking of love, right? Anyway, you're almost done cultivating. You can find a man to warm your blanket with, Kai Ji asked. Xiaoshuang glared at Kai Ji. I think that people from Earth are all glib. None of them are good people. If you're thinking of love, then so be it. Don't blame me. Kai Ji said nonchalantly, with my looks, I'm afraid I'll be alone for the rest of my life. I cultivate the martial Tao, so I have no attachments. Thinking of love. Before Kai Ji could finish her sentence, an earth-shattering explosion was heard. Following this earth-shattering sound were several cries of surprise. Xiaoshuang and Kai Ji stopped talking at the same time and scanned the area with their divine senses. Both of them exclaimed almost simultaneously, the origin aura of the primordial chaos? Not only was it the origin aura of the primordial chaos, but it was also not just one type. It seemed to be endless. In the next moment, the two of them flew over without hesitation. Although there were many good things in the chaotic inner realm, because they had come late, they did not obtain much. The origin aura of the primordial chaos was a treasure among treasures in the chaos inner realm. It was hard for the two of them not to be excited when they found it. When the two of them got closer, they realized that there were already dozens of people gathered here. Not only that, but more people were coming over. The two of them knew what was going on the moment they saw what was going on. Someone must have been fighting here, which caused a rift to appear in the chaotic inner world. Then, the people fighting sensed the endless primordial aura from the crack. As a result, they stopped fighting and wanted to tear the crack open as soon as possible. Then they would go in and find the source of the aura. Needless to say, this was a peerless treasure. After understanding the situation, Xiao Shuang and Kai Ji did not hesitate to join the team to blast open the crack. Although the chaotic inner realm's laws were broken and it was not as hard as it was in the beginning, it could not be broken easily. Dozens of people joined in and bombarded the wall for a long time, but they only managed to make the crack a little bigger or create a few more cracks in the surroundings. It was still a long way to go before they could tear this place apart. Many people understood this logic. Some people had already stopped attacking, and some even suggested attacking in batches. However, no one paid attention to this proposal. Who knew which group of people would attack in batches when the crack opened? Once this place was opened, the group of people who were attacking would be the first to enter and obtain the treasure. No one paid attention to this proposal and everyone just continued to attack. Some people began to use tricks and were unwilling to go all out. However, no one was willing to leave this place, even if they knew that they could not break through this void domain in a short period of time. The reason was simple. The endless primordial aura was constantly seeping out of this crack. Everyone who stayed here was looking forward to breaking through this void realm and entering to obtain the treasures. Xiao Shuang, I really admire that Ning Qing now. I only knew that there was a huge gap between us before, but now I know that the gap between us can't be described as huge. The woman named Kai Ji said to the proud Xiao Shuang holding the fly whisk after bombarding the crack with her Dharma treasure. Xiao Shuang understood what Kai Ji meant. With so many people working together, they would not be able to blast open the void realm here when the chaotic inner realm was completely unstable. Ning Cheng was severely injured back then, but he still managed to blast open the void realm of the chaotic inner realm. How powerful was he? Xiao Shuang smiled slightly. Your fellow countrymen can do it too. Kai Ji also smiled. He doesn't have to do this. I'm afraid no one would dare to plot against him. Xiao Shuang shook her head. You're wrong. Although Sect Master Yi is strong, he can't do this. You know who came to the chaotic void. Even if you didn't know before, you should know now. The 5 sacred lords and the 10 Dao lords. Which one of them isn't a powerhouse that can shake the vast universe? I'm afraid none of them are weaker than Sect Master Yi. Kai Ji chuckled. Xiao Shuang, I finally believe that you really don't think about my fellow countrymen this time. Otherwise, you would definitely think the same as me. Xiao Shuang said helplessly, no matter what, the disciples of Clear Dream Mosque will not lie through their teeth. You're not a disciple of Clear Dream Mosque now. While the two were talking, another woman walked over from the void in the distance. This woman wore a gray robe and carried a sheathless white sword on her back. When this woman came over, not only Kai Ji, but everyone else also felt a little dazed. Although this woman wore a gray robe, no one could ignore her stunning appearance and peerless youth. Xiao Shuang, this woman is so beautiful. I'm afraid only Sister Bingyu can compare to her. Kai Ji exclaimed, feeling an inexplicable sense of envy in her heart. She had an impressive figure, but her appearance was very ordinary. She had gotten to where she was today by sheer hard work. But which woman did not envy others' beauty? No matter how strong her cultivation was, she was still a woman. Ling Xiaoshuang, who was with her, was considered beautiful, but compared to the gray-robed woman in front of her, she was still lacking. The cloth-robed woman stopped. Her eyes swept towards the crack that was created by the explosion of the crowd, and suddenly asked, Senior Apprentice brothers and Senior Apprentice sisters, I am called Lan Shu. May I ask, does anyone know where Ning Cheng was plotted against? This person was Lan Shu. After obtaining the Yuan Killer Sword, she once again obtained the Sword Dao inheritance. In just 70,000 years, she directly stepped into the Dao integration realm from half-step Dao sculpting. When she stepped into the Dao integration realm, she thoroughly understood why Nalan Rushue was far inferior to her back then. But after she came to the Grand Essence realm, Nalan Rushue became much stronger than her. That was because of opportunities, inheritances, or luck. When one's cultivation was low, one could rely on their own efforts. But when one's cultivation reached a certain level, hard work and opportunities were equally important. If she, Lan Shu, hadn't obtained the nameless sword sage's inheritance, not to mention 70,000 years, even if it was 700,000 years, or even 7 million years, she wouldn't have been qualified to step into the chaotic lands. Unfortunately, after she stepped into the chaotic inner realm, she still didn't have the slightest clue after so many years. Kai Ji took the initiative to speak up. Everyone knows that Dao Lord Ning was plotted against here. It's just that no one knows where Dao Lord Ning was plotted against. Lan Shu sighed in her heart and was about to speak when the void suddenly exploded with a boom. A vast and majestic void aura mixed with the endless primal chaos origin aura gushed out. It's opened. No one knew who said this, but at this moment, almost everyone rushed into this strange void. This is the primordial chaos Dao charm aura. A trembling voice screamed. He couldn't control his excitement at all. What would happen if one obtained the primordial chaos Dao charm? Even without this person saying it, almost everyone here felt the primordial chaos Dao charm. Although Lan Shu had been looking for the place where Ning Qing disappeared, it didn't mean that she didn't care about these treasures. With such a majestic origin aura gushing out and the primordial chaos Dao charm aura, Lan Shu also rushed over. However, everyone was blocked outside a gray planet in the void. On this gray planet, there was a person sitting cross-legged on the ground. To be precise, it was a bloody person sitting cross-legged on the ground. Ugh. Even Kai Ji, who had experienced countless voids and planets, couldn't help but scream at this moment. She had never seen such a tragic situation. A person's blood had almost dyed the entire planet red. The boundless essence blood Dao runes seeped out from this gray planet. A purple Dao charm with some golden light surrounded this person, and this person's body was still constantly spewing out blood mist. So miserable. Ling Xiaoshuang was also shocked. However, more people's eyes were red, and they were also shocked. They weren't shocked by the misery, but by the endless treasures. The endless origin aura, the endless blood essence Dao charm, the endless primordial chaos aura. Only Lan Shu had tears streaming down her face. She recognized that it was Ning Qing. No matter how long she hadn't seen him, she still recognized him at a glance. It was as if the boy next door with low cultivation, who called her elder sister Shu, was standing in front of her again with unswerving determination in his eyes. When she was paralyzed and couldn't move, it was that boy next door who saved her. Back then, every man who wanted to see her coveted her beauty. Only that boy next door brought Yu Chen's golden axe and returned it to her. Now, the blood that flowed from that boy's body dyed more than half of the planet red. Sorry, your elder sister Shu is late. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.